All right, ready? Hey, so welcome back. We are on and live. You should be able to hear us right now. Apollo, can they hear us? Can they hear us? Can they hear us? All right. So we have a star-studded crowd where I am joined by three guests. Three probably they're just amazing guys. One is Jake Lang. Jake Lang. And then we have, obviously he needs no actually does kind of need an introduction because he's out of prison and he shut his beard off so nobody can recognize him. So you got Jake Lang. Then you got Matt Wallace, who is an extraordinary influencer, social media influencer, and does some pretty crazy stuff. And he's also just a great guy. Like I've been able to spend some time with him. He's pretty awesome. And then we're joined by Nick Fuentes. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean Behizy. Behizy.
This is all a joke, right? We weren't actually going to call him Nick Fuentes.
I did. I kind of did. I just kind of got you there. He's like, God, there's Nick Fuentes.
This guy.
How you doing? It's good. Where's cameras at?
I'm not white enough to be Nick Fuentes, but I'm also not black enough to be George Floyd. Why are we zooming in?
You don't have
to zoom in on that line.
We just had to play with you a little bit. He gets oh my goodness, he's getting right to you. And so we got a lot to go through today, and these gentlemen are like, Joe, we're gonna go at it. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk about some fun stuff, such as guys, what do you think they're gonna do? The autopen. President Trump just canceled pardons.
Liz Cheney's on the menu.
It's the most hilarious thing that Joe Biden takes this bold move to do all those pardons, and then he doesn't even do it in the proper legal channel. And so now all these people, even if Trump is just messing around, it's still hilarious that they don't have to feel scared. Like they have to wonder, am I going to go to prison for all these awful things I've done, which they should have to wonder, and they've been protected for too long. So it's a beautiful day. It's great. Whoever's advising Trump legally right now certainly is willing to have fun and isn't afraid to use any legal loophole necessary to get the agenda that they want to get through.
I would agree.
But, totally. If you're going to pardon all these prominent Democrats, why don't you just do it right? I mean, why don't you just have like the actual signature, make it official? Why make that mistake? I mean, am I supposed to believe that they didn't just think about that? I mean...
So what you're saying is he did it on purpose?
No, I'm not saying Biden could do anything on purpose because I don't think he actually knows what the word purpose even means. But I'm saying I can't really just believe it's incompetence. Maybe they thought, no one's going to really check. So let's just give them these pardons that we don't even sign to make official. I can't really understand it. It's incomprehensible to me that they make mistakes so catastrophic.
I mean, that's how they're running the country, right?
Yeah,
so, it's a perfect microcosm of how they're running the country. Not checking the boxes, not making sure it's solid first, just signing things willy-nilly. Here's $1 billion, here's $1 billion, here's $1 trillion. I mean, an absolute shit show that they've been putting on for 4 years. It doesn't surprise me at all. That was something so important, they would screw it up, just like they always have.
But, now it seems like divine intervention has given this administration an opportunity to bring actual accountability. Because if these pardons were legitimate, then they couldn't do anything. But the January 6th committee deleted documents and
then lied about it.
And now,
they edited video. They tampered with witnesses. These people tried to destroy not only our entire country by precluding President Trump, by spinning this insurrection narrative and then using the 24th Amendment to preclude him from running for office, but they actually used these videos and this entire, sham of a hearing that was broadcasted on 13 major cable outlets. They used those videos in the disposition of the public to then go after us in actual court cases with real life consequences, people getting sentenced to decades in prison. Those are my brothers, the men that I suffered with shoulder to shoulder. And to now see that the shoe is on the other foot, that these people are going to have to be held responsible for not only lying to the American people in the J6 Select Committee, but also, this is borderline treason. It wasn't just trying to lie just to lie and spin up a narrative. They were trying to preclude President Trump from ever being able to run for office again. And that is treason because it was the will of the people. Obviously, 2024 worked out the way it did. Would have never worked out the way it did if they had their way, their dirty, dirty Democrat way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Zoom in on that hat as well.
Oh, yeah. Paulo, get a mic check on this right here. 1-6, where legends were made, baby.
Yeah, we were Jake and I were driving, and a lady pulls up to us and says, "Oh, nice hat," thinking it's just a normal Trump hat or whatever because it has 47 on the side. And Jake's like, "Oh yeah, hey yeah, by the way, Trump just pardoned me," and she got so excited, like, "Oh my gosh,
You just made my day."
It
Yeah.
was pretty funny.
Well, now that we have Jake in studio and he's out of jail, unless, they dragged all of us into jail and now we're like in this matrix where we're actually all in jail.
Welcome to the Gulag, boys.
Jake, what was the first thing you did when you came out?
Well, as the world saw,
That you can tell us. That you can tell us, please.
You can just
well,
tell
I
us.
got to hug on and kiss on my beautiful fiance Rachel, and my father Ned Lang, the hero, the stalwart of January 6th, was there. And so Professor David Clements was there. My mentor Huang Quan was there. A number of Jan Sixers who had already done their time were there. And so we got to go out for surf and turf with my, extended family, my real family and my extended January 6th family, and rejoice, that the Lord had been, it's a biblical deliverance. I mean, it was literally like the Red Sea parted. When I walked out of that prison, I was freezing, but it didn't feel real until I got my feet on the concrete. I heard, for so long, we had a joke in the Gulag that whenever we heard a chopper in D.C., that the Marines were on the roof. They were coming to rescue us, because we thought that, that this was obviously a weaponization of the government and that there would be some form or miracle that would happen. And it finally did come to pass. And so it was like living a real life biblical story. Like the giant fell, the giant was slayed, the walls of Jericho fell. Daniel emerged from the lion's den unharmed. It was a biblical deliverance. And so glory be to God's name. And thank you, President Trump. Thank you.
Matt, Joe, if we actually, Joe's out of this equation here, because I know if he goes to jail, he's just going to be intense all the way. But me and Matt, right, we're law-abiding citizens. We would never...
And the rest of us aren't. I mean, see what happens when Nick Fuentes shows up?
We
starts
would,
talking to us about,
we would never storm any building for whatever reason. We believe the 2020 election was actually fair. 81 million votes Joe got. Matt, I pray that if we go to jail together, we have a Jake Lang with us in the same prison. Who just
I'll get the cell phones. Don't worry.
I just want to know what the story would be that would put you in jail.
Yeah, I'm not going
Well,
to jail.
I mean, Jake's friend though that was cooking. I feel like Jake would be good, but having a chef in there that can turn the prison food into something good. I'm sorry,
that was
Jake,
Bob.
but you'd be number 2 on my draft list for prison.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, guess what? When they're coming after you with knives and MS-13s on your back and you got a chef with you, you're going to want a warrior, all right?
Yeah.
So, it wasn't so easy making it through there, but God delivered us. And that's Bobby Gieswein he's talking about. He's here in Colorado, Jan Sixer. He came with Joe and I to the Nuggets game a couple nights ago and had the time of his life. And, just so blessed that part of this healing process for our whole country is watching the Jan Sixers and the people who had been disenfranchised and persecuted and abused by the former administration now out, running for Senate, doing great things, starting businesses and stuff. It's a community healing process that we're going through, both our internal community and all the Americans that have had empathy and felt vote so deeply about the way they were treating us. Now watching us out, winning and being successful is just, I know for me, watching my brothers and people enjoy themselves, even though CPAC was a horrible rhino fest that kicked me out, we were outside CPAC, and that's where all the Jan Sixers, we had a couple different restaurants, we literally took over 100 Jan Sixers screaming the national anthem at the top of our lungs, and we videotaped that and it, went viral online. But those are the healing moments that our country needs right now.
You can start a new CPAC with Nick Fuentes over here since you guys were both kicked out.
Can we get over this Nick Fuentes thing? Because people are going to actually start believing that I'm Nick Fuentes.
I'm gonna tell my grandkids that you're Nick Fuentes.
When you walked in, I was like, "Is that Nick?" I had to squint a little bit. Oh, okay. No,
Wait,
I couldn't tell for a second.
When did you get grandkids?
I have not had grandkids yet. I'm not. No. Please no.
What do you mean, please no? Babies are a gift from God.
I'm a good Uncle Joe.
Make babies, not war. That's what Elon Musk says. Make babies, not war.
Yeah.
I mean, look, yeah. Oh man, not yet. Just slow your roll. Just slow the roll. Slow it.
Okay.
So let's get into this autopen deal, can we? Can we talk about this autopen deal for a thing?
Can we show what Trump said? Because the man, the myth, the legend wrote it and just eviscerated. First of all, the J6 Select Committee, they're going to jail. But the people that I am just so happy that did not sleep last night, and sorry I say that, God forbid, in the name of Jesus, can't be happy for, but these people, I am happy, so I must repent. Officer Harry Dunn and Officer Michael Fanone, the liars that abused and perjured themselves, abused Americans at the Capitol and perjured themselves on stand to send many of my brothers home. They also got these, we're going to call them fardens. They're fake pardons, the fardens. They got the fardens from Joe Biden, and they thought they were safe, but justice is coming. MAGA justice is coming. Oh yeah, those are my two favorite. Those are who I would elect first if I was going to perp walk anybody out of their house with an FBI weaponized raid. Perp walk, Big Liar Dunn and Big Liar Fanone, please.
You know, I'm
Pam Bondi, arrest somebody. Have anybody seen the meme?
Yeah, but
Has anybody seen the meme where it's like Chris Farley screaming and it's Pam Bondi sitting on the couch? It's like, arrest somebody already.
You know, Jake, I'm going to say something that might upset everyone here, including you the most. But, you know, I'm usually full of hopium and optimism, and Joe knows that. You know, I'm not really optimistic about him losing weight, but, you know, it's a topic for a different day.
You're talking about me losing weight? Are you serious?
Hold on, let me continue the sentence.
Joe's
Let me
looking
land
great.
the plane.
I'm like,
Let me land the plane, then you can talk. You know, let me not do a 9/11.
dude, camera adds
just
10
go
pounds to
through.
me, makes you look white.
Joe, let me just Joe, let me land the plane. All right, let me park this bus.
All right, probably this is,
All right.
this is a retard bus.
So
Go ahead.
So my fear right now is that the Justice Department is actually just going to administer justice in the most normie way possible, right? They're going to just arrest, criminals, drug dealers, cartel leaders. They're not going to go all the way. And the reason I kind of have this, skepticism is because of how they're dealing with the Epstein files. If they just came out, I mean, Bondi said the documents were on her desk and she was reviewing them. And then when it came time to release them, she gave influencers a binder and said, hey, hold this up and say Epstein documents part 1, phase 1. And then, that came out and it turned out most of the information in there was already known. So it was kind of like a weird shammy public release. But then she said the Southern District of New York had a bunch of documents and those were going to be exposed and they had to turn them over. And for whatever reason, they were holding them. And you know what? Let's say we believe that the Southern District of New York violated her order to turn over the documents. No one has been arrested from the Southern District of New York.
Nope.
One guy, I don't know if he was fired or he just resigned for whatever reason, but it doesn't matter because he wasn't arrested. So if we didn't deal with the Epstein file release with the utmost vigilance, I don't know if we're going to see some of these thugs get arrested. I don't know if we're going to get investigations over these voting machine companies that lied to the federal government, committed crimes.
Well, let me say something, because normally the way that the feds operate, which we all know this, is even big time drug dealers, they will case these people for years so that they build a rock solid case against them.
Yeah.
And then they'll come swoop in, and that's why they have a 98% conviction rate.
Bro.
So that's a normal thing. What they did, this is abnormal. The fact that they grabbed the Jan 6ers, me, 10 days after January 6th, and then held me in pretrial detention for 4 years and 6 days in order to have enough time to build the case. Maybe, just maybe, and I'm definitely not an apologist, I'm like rock and roll, 365, but maybe, just maybe, they're building legitimate, rock solid, airtight cases so that when they indict and swoop in, there's no question of find the person, arrest the person, then build a case on them like they did to Trump, like they did to us. So God willing, they're doing their due diligence in their actual job, and there are currently, 20,000 FBI agents with case files looking at all of these J6 Select Committee losers and the liars. So, I'm just hoping for that because we need arrests. It's been 2 months. The administration has not arrested a single person of import that perpetrated any of these treasonous acts against the American people.
Yeah, and that's another thing we need to start doing, prosecuting people for treason, because treason is an actual crime. It's not just something that happens and it's this magical, mystical word that we're never supposed to prosecute. It is a real crime. And look, Matt knows people that committed treason. He tweets about them every single second. So we have thousands of people that are guilty of this crime. Man, I just want to see one person.
Perp walk them.
That's what I want to see. I want to see one, like Hillary Clinton. I don't care how fat and old she is. She's the same size as Joe right now. I don't really care. Just make sure you arrest her.
I don't even know. I mean, you got Nick Fuentes keeps doing this, man. I don't even know what's happening. Like,
Joe owns 3 gun ranges, but apparently they're all full operation here in the Untamed studios.
Say it
today.
again. Say it again.
Hey,
Joe.
Okay. I won't say it. Wow.
The second the gun comes out, it goes fat to big bone.
Nick Fuentes is running, saying, "Help!
Don't bring a battle axe to a gunfight, okay?
I mean, Liz Cheney is pure evil, though. I mean, the January 6th stuff is the most basic level crime she's committed. I mean, we're talking about causing wars on purpose to profit from them, as well as her father, got into family business. Millions of deaths, or at least hundreds of thousands at a minimum, are on her hands. She's responsible for them. These are people who didn't die for the purpose of something, not for protecting their country, not for anything. It's because the CIA and groups within positions of power wanted something, and so they wanted an inroad to Ukraine or whatever it is, and so they make these wars happen, and she supports it and makes sure there's funding and makes sure there's a catalyst, and then gets paid lots of money, does the speaker roles, now tries to switch parties, thinking her allegiance will sway with whatever when the power goes, she can be protected. It's not going to happen. Liz Cheney is one of the people at the very top of the list who does need to spend time behind bars. Yeah. And if she doesn't, and if people can continue getting away with getting paid millions of dollars to literally make sure people are dying in unnecessary wars, then we don't have a country. We just have a deep state that's propped up by a fake government, really.
Oh, wasn't Liz Cheney caught essentially tampering with one of the witnesses?
Yes.
Multiple witnesses.
So, yeah, she absolutely needs to go to jail.
And I think those things are despicable. But for me personally, the most despicable thing she did was take her old, decrepit, demonic father and get him to come out with official endorsement for Kamala Harris. Yeah. That right there is worthy of at least
and he was demonic
10 years.
Too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know. Poor guy's soul is just, is shut so tight to the light of God. And I pray that he's delivered, and Liz too, but be delivered in a prison cell because you're dangerous to society. And, they need to leave.
So, I mean, the slow roll and under investigation for a long time would hold weight for me, Jake. Honestly, it would hold weight if any time in the last 25 years anyone went to jail. Because, I mean, Hillary Clinton's like killed off 150, 200 people, and she's still just walking around having things to say. Look, I want to take a minute and I want to talk about this because this is, the sabotage of President Trump is happening in real time. We're seeing propaganda that is popping up everywhere that is just not true. You have what's happening with Doge. You have domestic terrorists that are burning down Tesla stations. They're victimizing people that are driving Teslas. You have people that are putting stickers on their cars saying, and virtue signaling, Musk with a line through it to signal that they're the good guy, right? And I'm trying to get out of my Tesla. But there's something bigger happening. Probably a dozen times yesterday, this happened. There are stories that are being leaked to the media where the Army and the U.S. Department of Defense websites, there are pages that honor the different aspects of history. And when we start looking at like the Army took down a page. The Army removes a website dedicated to the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. And what happened? Are you good?
Just a little staticky in my ear. I don't know why.
Staticky in your ear?
It may not be plugged in all the way.
Sounds good to me now.
It was just mine only.
Yeah, how you
Can't
doing
trust Nick Fuentes with anything.
Still?
Okay, that's better. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so
the Army
removed the page dedicated to the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. Now, this team was Japanese Americans. You remember in World War II, they had internment camps, and they had Japanese Americans that were placed in those internment camps as possible enemy combatants, right, in the United States. And so you had this group of people that did an amazing amount of work that are Japanese Americans, like they're Americans. And they did amazing work, and it was removed from the website. Now, the problem with that is, and then the next one is they had a Black Medal of Honor recipient, and this was on Apple News. And by the way, these are everywhere. So what I'm telling you about this is literally happening everywhere, and they're leaking this to the Guardian. They're leaking it to the New York Times, and it's disgusting.
I don't understand, Joe. Who is taking down the websites?
No, people are taking down the websites.
Yeah, where are the websites hosted?
It'd be like some page on the DOD, right?
So who's taking them down? Do we know
like-
yet? Has anybody whistleblown or come out?
It would have to be like an internal team. But Jake, I mean, I think there could be like a logical explanation to this where, these people go in, the president signs an executive order eradicating diversity, equity, and inclusion, and any of those garbage ideas within every federal agency and department. And then the employees of those departments, to comply with the executive order, look through and just any website that seems to praise minorities of any kind get deleted. So that could be logical. But what Joe's going to allege here is that this is nefarious.
It is very nefarious because it is widespread, and what it's doing is it's hitting the mainstream supporters of President Trump and the initiatives.
Yeah.
So this is, and I sent some information to a bunch of congressmen. I sent some information to a bunch of people that are close to President Trump, and I'm like, listen, you have to get ahead of this.
Right.
This is not a small deal. Look, when a friend of mine sends me, who's an attorney, one of the top SEC attorneys in the country, sends it to me, and she is of Japanese descent, and she sends it to me and says, Joe, I can't stomach this.
This becomes
wrong.
Political fodder in future campaigns.
Yeah, and then a friend of mine on the business world sends me the other one. And then I start getting one after the other. Joe, you have to do something about this. Like, I can't support this guy. And they're saying this from the perspective of they do support President Trump.
You're right.
But you can't. This other story, and then we have a guy named Sam who's going to be joining us, by the way, who's a media guy in his own right. We'll have him on. He's down in Florida too, with you, Jake.
Nice.
But I want to do the Black Medal of Honor recipient removed from U.S. Department of Defense website. Let me just tell you how nefarious it is. These bad actors, these radical leftists that are inside the government, changed the website. So there's a page celebrating an Army general who served in the Vietnam War and was awarded the country's highest military decoration has been removed, and the letters DEI added to the site's address.
Wait. So were the letters added recently?
Yeah, this just happened yesterday.
Somebody's trying to mess with Trump.
Yeah.
And so it says on Saturday, U.S. Army Major General Charles Calvin Rogers' Medal of Honor webpage led to a 404 error message. The URL was also changed with the word medal changed to DEI medal. Rogers was awarded the Medal of Honor by then President Richard Nixon in 1970, served in the Vietnam War. He was wounded 3 times while leading the defense of a base. According to the West Virginia Military Hall of Fame, Rogers was the highest ranking African-American. He's not African-American, he's black, just so you know,
So
to receive
Elon
a
Musk.
medal. No, I mean, it's crazy. After the death in 1990, he had more melanin. How's that? Rogers' remains were buried at the Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C., and in 1999, a bridge in Fayette County, where Rogers was born, was renamed the Charles C. Rogers Bridge. As of Sunday afternoon, the 404 page not found message appeared on the Defense Department's website for Rogers, along with the message. The page you're looking for might have been removed, renamed, or maybe temporarily unavailable. Screenshot posted with the writer Brandon Friedman on Blue Sky on Saturday evening shows the Google preview of an entry of Rogers' profile on the Defense Department's website. So what they're doing is they're trying to divide us using the same tactics of sabotage within the government.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. I mean, actually, Joe, even if there was a black general from what year was this? Like
1970. Well, it was in 1968 was when he was wounded, but in 1970 he received the award.
Yeah, even if there was a black guy who received an award in 1970, and let's say it was actually only because he was black, I don't really think we should remove it right now, right? Because it's like, he still served and definitely did a really great service for this country. So it makes sense that there's somebody inside the DOJ, the DOD. I mean, they have millions of employees, hundreds of thousands of civil employees. there are definitely people still in there with power, and they go in and say, oh, you want to remove DEI? How about we just take out this black guy who definitely deserved his award, and then we're going to feed it to the media, and then even black Republicans are going to be like, yo, Trump, I don't think we really elected you to do that specifically.
And it didn't happen, though. See, that's the problem, is that President Trump did not say take down all of these web pages.
But they're going to, of course, blame him because it's part of his order, or it's tied
to It's not tied to his order, though. It's sabotage. And because when they're leaking it to the media, and this is how you know that there are some people that are just semi-retarded, right? Is because they bite into it, right? Yeah. They bite into it, and it becomes a big... Now, my friends at least contacted me, and then I just got on the horn. I was like, this is big. This is really big. This is a big problem. This is not a small problem. It's a big problem.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, and I don't want to take too much airtime because I know Jake has a lot to say about this. This man, he's like a speaking machine. I love it. But one thing I think DEI has done is that it has led to like a little bit of an uptick in racism in this country. And a prime example of this is the CEO of Red Lobster, this new CEO, and he's a young black guy, and he's
Red Lobster.
Red Lobster, yeah.
But black people can't even swim.
Yeah, you eat there all the time. But so this guy, Red Lobster, he's a young. I think he's a Ivy League educated guy, very very smart, in his 30s, and he's leading one of the biggest restaurant chains in America, and whenever you see him on interviews, you have conservatives saying he's a DEI hire. But it's not true because he rescued P.F. Chang from bankruptcy during COVID and made him profitable. And now he got hired by Red Lobster to do the same thing. And he's actually implementing real changes. So because there is an influx of DEI in the system where people get hired based off their color and not actual merit, you have people that assume that anyone that is black or any other race getting employed in a big role is now DEI. So DEI had the opposite effect, where it actually increased racism, but for people who were actually qualified to do the job they're doing.
Right.
And now we have an overcorrection where, in the name of DEI, you have people sabotaging the president by removing people who are genuinely qualified to get the
that deserve to get it. They deserve the recognition. Well, we've got a lot to talk about on the autopen deal. I got a bunch of stuff.
I cut a deal with Jake. He has to.
Jake, no, I got to bring Sam in too. So we're going to have Sam come in. Sam Anthony is the CEO president of Nico Ventures.
Oh, he's here right now?
Yeah, he actually. So just so he's not here, but he's here.
Because I was about to give him my seat because I respect my elders.
The Your News website. What, dude? I got to meet Sam down in Florida. Nick just doesn't stop. This Nick Fuentes guy, man, he just crushes my soul.
Yeah, all this money on the set, you can't fit 5 people. I feel like
you need to fire. It's me because he said I need to gain and lose weight.
He's taking up 2 seats.
I mean, this is you can't see from the camera angle. This is a really nice
guys.
set.
Let's not be awesome. Disrespectful to Sam. Let's go to Sam.
Hey, Sam, come on in, man. Come on, bring Sam in so he can. This is your aura board, Sam. We're your proctologists over here.
Oh, look at Sam, this handsome man.
What's up, Sam?
I was just enjoying this show. I'd rather hear you guys than hear myself. Great.
How's stuff down there in sunny Florida? Is it sunny or is it raining right now?
Oh man, it's beautiful. A little rain last night came through, and now it's just phenomenal. Like that 75-degree perfect weather. Patio doors are completely opened. It's perfect.
Awesome. So you have a platform down there as well. We have platforms we're going to talk about today. Jake, I'm not going to talk about that one yet because it's like super secret. Obviously, we have Matt Wallace and Behizy, two how do you call it? Ex-influencers?
Ex-monsters.
Ex-monsters?
Yeah,
Matt's a bigger monster because he's like got 2 million people on his deal, but...
Yeah, I'm like a people.
It does sound weird because it sounds like you're a former influencer, like I'm an ex-influencer.
Oh, it does,
It's like, well, I don't think Elon Musk really thought that through.
No.
I am an ex-influencer because I got fired by Trump because of DEI.
They took your page down. And in other news, Behizy loses his page. I mean, Nick Fuentes loses his page.
No, I don't want Sam to think I'm Nick Fuentes. Sam, I'm not Nick Fuentes. Obviously, you know that.
I checked his IDs, Nick Fuentes.
It's just this guy, he just likes to bully me, right? He likes to bully me and say all these things. But Sam, how are you doing, man?
Good. I'm glad to be here. Wow, I got like a whole team. Look at
Sam,
this.
I'm very interested to. I mean, I know about equity crowdfunding, but tell us about Nico Ventures. This sounds interesting. I mean, right now we're doing equity crowdfunding for a literal equity crowdfunding for my U.S. Senate campaign. People crowdfund in, and the equity they get back is leadership, right? I mean, that's the original form of real equity crowdfunding. So tell us about. I want to know about Nico Ventures.
Nico Ventures is a holding company. Joe knows what I do with Your News, but Nico Ventures owns Your News. It's kind of like you got Fox News, but it's owned by News Corp, right? So News Corp is the holding company that owns a bunch of different companies, and so Your News is a media company. It's a hyper-local news platform that would look like any daily news website, but the difference is we're in every zip code in the United States, so we have mega scale. We're a news content distribution platform, so we can serve news to a city, a county, market, state, regional, or national. And then it's by subject: sports, business, politics, entertainment, world, U.S. And ultimately, Joe came down here and he called me up one day and he says, I'm going to be coming to Florida. I think we were going to maybe to Mar-a-Lago or something like that. He says, I want to meet you. So we met someplace for lunch, and maybe late lunch, 3:00, and we talked about it for a while. And that was not the last time I talked to him, but I haven't seen him since then. So I'm wondering when you're coming back, Joe.
I'll be back here in a little bit. I mean, I literally will be back in a couple weeks. I know, Jed.
We're making TikToks.
These guys, Nick Fuentes.
We got a 23-year-old, 26-year-old, and a 29-year-old. I'm turning 30 in 2 weeks here, so I can run for Senate.
And I'm definitely.
So we're over here making TikToks.
Cool.
So
yeah.
So Sam, I got to bring this up. We're talking about the autopen from for the pardons, and the autopen issue is kind of a big issue. Because if an auto pen was used, there is precedent that it is not legal. And so how do we square this? Do you think President Trump is playing with him, or do you think this is a real thing and he's going after him?
I saw something earlier, and it was somebody that was reading, I don't remember where, but they were actually reading the law, and it said that for any president that signs, that signs pardons, it has to be with his signature. You can't use autopen. Now, is that a lie or is it not a lie? If it's true, it basically makes all this stuff null and void, right? Because you have to be present. How many did he pardon? Like 9,000 people or 8,500 or something like that. I mean, do you really think he even knew who the hell he was pardoning? I mean, this guy right now doesn't even know his own name. He's probably sitting somewhere with drool coming out of his mouth. I mean, he doesn't really have any idea who he is. That's the whole thing. He didn't run the country. Everybody knows that. So I do think there's a high probability this stuff could be overturned. And if it does, what are the legal ramifications for the people who actually did the signature? Because was it him or was it his staff? Did they get paid to do this? I mean, why would you release some of these people? And we're talking about people in jail. Why would you release them unless somebody actually gave you money? So, Trump always talks about, the Biden crime family, and maybe this is just another way to get a bunch of money coming in before they left office, right? Any way to build the American people. So, yeah, I think it's a real thing. And I think that they're going to really end up looking into it, and we'll see where it goes. Like you guys said, I want to see a perp walk. There's been so many crimes committed, and they are treasonous. Okay. They are treasonous, yet nobody ever gets tried for treason. Nobody ever gets arrested for treason. My personal opinion, they should all be arrested and taken to Guantanamo Bay for treason.
Well, they did just create 30,000 new tiny homes in Guantanamo Bay. That actually did happen.
So we know you're not going there.
I don't know.
I mean, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen with this. If Trump decides to pursue seriously going after, if he decides to pursue seriously going after this and trying to make the autopen thing not a thing, it's going to first get blocked by liberal judges, as always. They're going to say no, and maybe in a few years it will move up to the Supreme Court, at which point, unfortunately, it will probably receive a 5-4 vote, in which we'll see two of the traitor Republicans, at the very least, decide to not vote along with that. And in some ways, I kind of get it, because it is true that there's probably some executive orders that have been signed that way in the past that maybe we would want to continue to have upheld. So, I mean, you can look at it both ways. But at the end of the day, no matter what, it's probably not going to happen, because the Supreme Court most likely will vote to not uphold that ruling. I mean, if they do, then it will go through. I think it comes down to the Supreme Court.
Well, for me, it's not just the autopen issue, because obviously an autopen is used for mass legislation and things of that nature, to sign 1,600 pardons like the January 6th pardons. It's not just the autopen, it's the recognition or the acknowledgement, like in the legal term, willingly and knowingly you have to agree and to enter into a contract. So The real question is, was Joe Biden briefed on this? Did he know about this? Did he consent to this? Or was this staffers, Jill Biden, Obama, and the rest of the ilk of the criminals slithering through and just making autonomous decisions on behalf of Joe Biden? Because then they're definitely null and void. Even, whether they're forged or autopenned or whatever, he has to consent. He had to have knowledge. He has to know what's going on. And so there's like two issues here, whether it was autopenned and whether Joe Biden even knew about his signature being blasted over whatever they wanted to sign into legislation or pardon or whatever. So I think there's two issues here. And the autopen issue, I think, is actually secondary to the fact that I don't think Joe Biden consented or knew or had the mental faculties to consent to a decision of that, nature, especially, in the last couple months of his presidency. Didn't he just escape prosecution himself for the documents case, right? He had classified documents because they said he didn't have the mental faculties to be responsible for having these documents in his home. So if he doesn't have the mental faculties for that, I mean, there are legal, I think, steps, a legal logical trail to follow here to actually get these autopen pardons to be obliterated. And Donald Trump has used some pretty official language. Can I read Donald Trump's actual statement from X here, if we want to pull it up on the screen? Paulo, I sent you what he said on his Truth Social, because his language is very particular. He says, the pardons, he uses the quotes, that Sleepy Joe gave to many of the Unselect Committee, political thugs, and others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect. Now, that's a little official sounding. Those are legal terms. This isn't just Trump, doing one of his mean Twitter tweets. This sounds like an official presidential proclamation with official language that actually holds weight. So I would say somebody's going to jail, and I hope it's Liz Cheney.
Can they prove it, though? Can they prove Joe Biden didn't? I mean, obviously, we all know he didn't. But how do you legally prove that?
But even if they did know about he did know about it, the legal precedent is set. Apollo, let me see if we have it. I think we have it. This is cut 3, A3. No. 5. Cut A5. Can you go to cut A5? Play that deal. I think that's yeah. Play it. Yeah, play it. All right, go ahead. What's that? All right, go ahead. What are you saying, Nick?
You gonna address me by my real name?
Behizy.
Hizzle in the house.
Hizzle.
So when a president signs a pardon, is he allowed to put like 5 names and then sign it? Or is it just one name at a time?
I don't know. I saw literal stacks of pardons for
I
the
think
Jan
pardon
Sixers.
has to be individual, right?
So he could not have been consulted on 8,000 plus people he pardoned. It's physically impossible.
I'm not worried about the pardons of, I mean, God forbid, those people were commuted. They were not pardoned. The big stack that he signed were people on death row that he just mostly gave life sentences to. Instead of taking them off death row, giving them life sentences, there's a whole entire argument behind that. I'm concerned about the very specific political pardons that he gave as, payments to his cronies and to his own son and to, people surrounding his inner circle. Those are the ones that need to be investigated.
Right.
All right, let's go play it.
Let's cut to the clip.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
Is the autopen allowed for pardons? No. It is not constitutionally allowed for presidential pardons. Why? Because the U.S. Constitution requires the president to be present. He was in a different state.
Can we
on
tell me
vacation.
why it's
Article
like doing
2,
the
Section 2 grants
echo?
the president the power to issue pardons. Does not explicitly state the method. However, legal scholars past interpretations argue the pardons require the personal discretion and direct approval of the president, meaning autopen is not fulfilled in this requirement.
Is this the one with Barry Weiss that he was never president?
Wow.
I like our crew better. I like our crew better.
Sam, what do you think, man? What do you think? You think it's gonna, this?
So that's what I heard today. It was the same thing, right? It was Patrick Bet-David's show, and I would suspect that what he's reading is some kind of law that says that the president has to be present in order to do it. Now, was he out of town when this was signed? I don't have any idea. Any of you guys know?
He was on Mars.
I mean, I don't think that. I think that they probably went and asked him, "Hey, what about these parties?" Like, what are you talking about? I mean, there's plenty of things that he signed.
He has no idea who he did, who he pardoned.
I mean, what's interesting though is we know he didn't have approval of it, because why wouldn't he pardon himself? And I mean, he's old, I get it, he's really old, so he maybe doesn't care so much about the future and if he's going to be charged or something like that. But still, I mean, why not? If you're already doing all of that, wouldn't you at least put your name on there? I mean, he's going to be responsible for, or he's going to be part of some of those cases with Hunter and other things if they do legally pursue them.
10% to the big guy.
Yeah, like how do you not pardon yourself? Clearly, he would have if he actually did it on his own accordance.
After January 20th, I'll be honest, I wanted us to kind of just move on from ever mentioning Joe Biden's name. Because to me, he's a monster. I mean, just thinking about his existence irks me. And I know, like Jake was saying earlier, we're not supposed to go, get irked by our enemies. We're supposed to love them. But he makes it very hard to love them. Joe makes, I don't know if the Bible stipulated that you can love your neighbor as you love yourself if your neighbor is lovable. Joe is a very unlovable person. And
he's not talking about me. He's not talking about me. He loves me. He loves me.
No. I'm talking about Joe Biden. I was
okay.
hoping.
I was like, wait, this is getting real weird over here. I'm over here. I put my hat down.
I was just hoping we would move on from him, because I was hoping we wouldn't have to think about him. And I get annoyed each time President Trump mentions the previous administration. I get it. He has to remind people that he didn't screw anything up. But it's like, I just want to move on from hearing about that guy. He's a nightmare to me. So,
well, Trump did just say at the end of his tweet, worst president ever. Look at Joe Biden. I mean, he's still throwing shots, and God bless him. We need to be reminded every day of what we endured as Americans. We should all get participation trophies like the DEI.
Actually, yeah.
No, really. I participated. I survived the gulag. I survived the Biden regime.
I survived Jake Lang's phone calls.
Nobody survived Jake Lang's phone calls.
You know how sad it was to hear your voice oh man, I'm here in the gulag. I have dreams that you were out of jail.
Thanks, Behizy.
It was just, and then here's what made it worse. On election night, there was still a chance they could rig it. And I was just thinking, man, imagine being a J6er right now. Trump's ahead. I don't even know if you guys could get election coverage. Trump's ahead, and they just rig it. They rug pull us. But, thankfully, it went exactly as Jesus wrote it up. He drafted that whole thing.
And no one wanted Trump to win more than the people sitting in prison, knowing that the only way they're going to get out is if you...
No, I wanted it more because I needed that tax break. So...
move to Florida. You'll save 4%.
Joe. I know Joe. I mean, now we go back to the real Joe I love. He needed that tax. We all need tax breaks. All
bro. I talk about it. Sam, how's your property tax down there in Florida?
It's roughly 2% a property tax. So it's
so in your house it's like $80,000 a month. I mean, you live in like Wonderland down there.
But I mean, we live in a beautiful area, but my house is not like Bongino's, who's like 10 minutes away. I mean, I live in a real world, but Bongino lives in something much higher. But yeah, 2% is kind of high. I know. The governor's talking about, maybe the property taxes and go into some kind of consumption tax. I don't know how real that's going to be, but that's the talk here.
You
We'll
know,
see if they actually.
speaking of Dan Bongino, I have to say this. I respect that man so much because he has a podcast with literally millions of views every single day. And that's not easy to do, especially on Rumble. He built this giant audience doing it every single day. And he decides my country's calling for me. So I'm going to go not make my millions of dollars every year and go work like a $200,000. I don't even know if they make $200,000 a year as deputy FBI director. And he's doing it honestly out of wanting to serve the country. And it's not like he hasn't served the country. He was in the Secret Service for years and already served the United States in one of the greatest ways ever, protecting our presidents. As much as I don't like Barack Obama, I wanted him to be safe, and Dan Bongino kept him safe. And he's going back in, taking a huge pay cut, a bigger pay cut than perhaps Lizzo losing weight. Joe doesn't know about losing weight because he's still big and large. So
I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I mean, come on, now it's not even fair. What are you talking about? Yeah. There you go.
Oh, you know what?
Come on.
You do have some abs.
Yeah, of course I got abs.
They're just hiding under one.
You see what he does to me?
They're playing hide and seek on you. But yeah, I really
Sam, take care of this guy.
On behalf of America, thank you to Dan Bongino. Really, thank you.
No,
I have a different disposition. My litmus test on every conservative figurehead is if they supported the Jan Sixers or not. I was inside my prison cell in Alexandria, Virginia, in 6 months of solitary confinement, 22 hours a day locked in, no books. Family couldn't send in books, no pictures of my family, not allowed. And I heard on the radio Dan Bongino call us buffoons. So, that's my litmus test for people. And he failed my litmus test. I hope he's a better deputy FBI director than he was on Hot Take on Jan 6. Because if it was up to him, people like him, fence sitters, even our own vice president, J.D. Vance, I'd be rotting away in prison the rest of my life. So my litmus test, I hold people to a very high standard. 1776 Patriots, whether they recognize the sacrifice that the Jan Sixers put through. So that's my personal litmus test for people. And you guys have all passed that litmus test or else I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weakness, though, that
Jake,
most politicians have. I mean, it's always about trying to appease and I want to try to win. But at the end of the day, what really ends up leading to winning is being yourself no matter what. Your beliefs continue to push them. Never try to appease the other side. Never try to cow down to them. And people will respect that, and you're going to win. If you do anything else, it's going to lead to a situation where you have Jake talking bad about you on camera because you are a coward in some ways, even though he has done a lot of good stuff. But it is cowardly to not, and unless he really believes that, which I don't think he does, to say that anyway, it's cowardly. That's what it is.
But one thing I'll say is there's a billion different litmus tests for like super integrity. And not every person is going to pass all of them. I mean,
Amen.
One of my litmus tests was COVID vaccinations. Did you let them put it in your arm?
You told him to put it in your butt. I just want to tell everyone.
This guy won't just let me. Like, I would never call you fat or.
Oh my God! What are you talking about, Nick? Come on now, you're killing me.
I would call you fat, and I do regularly. That was one of my litmus tests. And our president was the one that signed the orders for Operation Warp Speed. So I think if we have like a specific litmus test, like if they don't agree or show bravery here, because it did require bravery to go on air and say the government was entrapped people and these prosecutions were a sham. These persecutions really were a sham. It required bravery. And not every person passed, like Jake said. But
I'm not going to totally throw out the baby with the bathwater. You know what I mean? But very personal thing to me. It's like...
You wouldn't throw out the baby with the bathwater?
No, I would not throw out. Like, that's like saying, you're not going to like just take...
I don't know why anybody would throw a baby out. I mean, that's kind of...
It's a figure of speech.
Hey, Joe,
I was just checking. You're running for Senate. You gotta be. I mean, they might get you with that one.
Joe, you keep talking about babies. God's gonna give you a grandchild soon. 9 months from now. I'm gonna be praying for you to be a grandfather.
Joe's eyes are glossing over
no,
with.
I'm
please
gonna be
don't.
praying. You know, you gotta have some grandkids. I feel like it would reduce your level of intensity if you just had some grandkids to work.
Sam, are you your granddad? Are you grandpa?
Twice over, but you're not old enough to be a granddad.
Thank you very much. Yeah, tell this guy. I'm also not fat enough to be a granddad.
Oh, plus you
you're
gotta
up there.
tell him.
Joe, I'm not gonna lie, Joe. I'm not being mean. You'd make a great Santa Claus. Okay.
You would.
What
man,
the hell is wrong with
I'm
you
not
guys?
being mean. No, it's just like the whole. You just have a jolliness about you.
A jolliness.
Look, Joe,
Yeah.
take that hat off. Let's see the Red Sea, part. That's what I'm saying right there. You got Moses right now, like just.
What's wrong with my hair?
You gotta
It's
visit
fine.
church.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Busy.
See, you guys just making fun of me. You want to know why
Busy,
you make fun of me?
Busy. You
'Cause
want to
you-
talk about the hair. What is this
Yeah,
beard
come
thing
on.
you got going
What's
on
going
here?
on?
What is
It's
going
not
on
even
there?
a beard. It's not.
Look.
Sam, he's trying to grow a hair. He has like one hair. He's like, so what he's doing is he's gluing it to every part of his
It's
face.
happening,
Tell him the reason you keep yourself a little heavier is because you can't drive a spike with a tack hammer, right?
There you
Look,
go.
I tell you what, I still do my push-ups, my sit-ups every morning, and I'm built like a tank.
You do sit downs. You just sit down.
Come on, baby.
and-
Come on, we can arm
Me and
wrestle.
Joe,
We'll do it
went on
here.
a 5.5 mile hike this
arm
morning.
wrestle right
Busy.
here.
Look.
Busy. What'd you do this morning?
I'll
Busy.
I'll break the table.
I woke
Me and
up-
Joe did a 5.5 mile hike this
We
morning.
did.
And we almost got
Oh.
like some Fed was
Oh.
chasing us.
I don't believe in hikes or running outside. I run on treadmills at the gym because I believe in maximum boredom. Right? If I'm extremely, I don't even listen to music
Sam's
while I
like,
work
what
out.
is happening here?
But yeah, look, let's go back.
Listen, you don't know maximum boredom, okay? 900 days solitary
God.
confinement.
You're right.
Don't. That's like a trigger for me. Like, just like you're joking about maximum boredom. Like that was like my life
Yeah.
for years.
All right, so the people that can stop yelling at me because an email didn't go out or a text didn't go out, you can always watch it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, tune in and more. For the people on BEK, it'll be split up into 2 days for this particular cast. But you can also share it too. You found it, so just now hit the share button wherever you are, put it out there, and we're going to continue the conversation. Sam, let's get back to Sam for a minute. You have a thing called Your News.
Mm-hmm.
It's been around a while.
Been around for a while. So
And-
it's been an evolution, right? Started as it's completely different than what it started as, but we've been doing this for a long time. So
Pivot.
I've actually seen it, Sam. Jake talking here. I know you can't see us now, but I have seen your news stories and the website and everything. It looks like the platform's going great. I really support it. Good job, brother.
Thank you. I mean, ultimately, the legacy media is the problem, right? I mean, that's none of this would exist if it wasn't for the legacy media, because they're the ones that are supposed to be telling you the truth. So obviously, we all know that they're just the talking points for the Democratic Party. I mean, they're a PR firm for the Democratic Party. So nobody really cares that they're going the way of the dinosaur. But when I never believed the legacy media was lying until Trump won the election, and they all of a sudden just turned on him and started manufacturing stuff. So that's when I finally realized, holy crap, these people are telling lies. So the good news is none of them are going to survive, and what'll replace them will be a product like mine. Nothing exists today, but it'll be a hyper-local news platform with a social component where the public can interact and share in the narrative, and it'll have like a monetization model like YouTube or X or even Rumble, where people can submit content and share it on their social media pages and make a percentage of the ad revenue, and a self-service ad platform where people can buy an ad and target it to one zip code, or as broad as nationwide and everywhere in between. So everything that we're doing, this is where the whole world is going. I mean, everybody wants to have a voice, and what we give people is a voice. And by the way, guys, in the last 90 days or a little less, probably the last 10 weeks, I picked up 260 news reporters. So while the legacy media is declining, we've been adding people daily, every day, 3, 4, 5 people every single day come on our platform, because they can't find work. So, basically what we do is we do local news. We do the news that matters most to people, but we do it all over the United States. I mean, I have local news in every market in the country right now.
Actually, local news is something I used to look down on because I thought, look, Fox News, CNN, they're these giant conglomerates that touch just about every part of the country. But the real difference maker is the news that people get when they Google something in their city. Like that's the game changer. There's a reason that guy, that billionaire, bought the Los Angeles Times, just so he could have that level of influence. And in 5 years, Los Angeles will be get closer and closer to
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Well, no. They're gonna repent and they're gonna actually follow Christ. But I think, as conservatives, as just anybody, we need to actually support our local news organizations, the ones that are telling the truth, so that we have national impact. Everything starts at a very local level.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
We finish each other's
General
sentences
Flint's
now.
whole statement, right? That's what General Flint says all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to?
So I agree.
Are you going to the Catholic v. Catholic deal that they're having at Mar-a-Lago? When is it?
It's Wednesday. Wednesday, 6 p.m. I think I'm going. Just texted him. Trying to roll. I actually grew up Catholic, but now I'm just a born again, regular, degular,
Jew.
Regular.
How do you feel
born
about
again
that, Nick?
Jew. I like that.
Nick, how do you feel about that?
I mean, technically,
Yeah, technically. I mean, I'm born again, Jesus Christ follower. Love him, but
He is Jewish though.
I think the Catholics got something going on. There's
I'm partially Jewish. You're full Jew Christian.
wait, you're partially
Catholic.
Jewish?
Yeah, I am.
What is
Why
that?
have I not been more anti-Semitic to you?
You have been, Nick.
Man,
Nick, you have been all over the place being anti-Semitic.
I missed so
Sam,
many
tell
good
this guy, please.
anti-Semitic jokes.
This guy.
I could have called you a
nothing to
banker.
him.
I could have said so much about
I'll
you.
take him out, Sam. Don't worry. You can say whatever you want. I got you. I got your back fully.
I have not even
appreciate
said
that.
Shabbat Shalom to you once. Why wouldn't you tell me you were Jewish, man? I could have made so many jokes. Now we gotta start over.
I mean, bro, did you see my nose?
Joe, that's just from years of getting punched in the face.
That is from years getting punched in the face. That is true. Okay, maybe that's a bad indicator. Okay, so Sam, what are you up to these days? Because we got a ton of stuff to talk about. We're degrading ourselves right now, but Nick Fuentes keeps
I'm
doing
enjoying
it.
this.
Yeah. All right, so what's that? Go ahead.
What was your question? I didn't hear you.
I didn't have one.
He said, "What are you up to these days?" In
I
fact,
said what
he
I'm
did
saying.
have.
I did have a question.
He had a question, but he forgot it.
I did not have a question. I forgot. There's a Tinder talking about the fact that Behizy is white. Does Behizy know that he's white? And they literally said that in the comments. Yeah.
Well, actually, Sam, because you're working on local news revitalization and reviving
Sam's like, I have no idea how I can respond here. What if they clip it?
and reviving local news. I want to ask you this, Sam. How do you think we can revive culture? Because I have a sense that a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans think political revival is equal to cultural, religious revival. When in reality, we have a big problem. We still have a cultural problem. You're tackling news, but how do you think we can, as conservatives, revive culture at large?
Well, I mean, to me, everybody.
Sam, go ahead. Yeah, you missed it. It said Nick Whitey Fuentes underneath Hizzy.
That's so funny.
Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
That's all
Sorry,
right. No,
Sam.
listen.
Go ahead.
I think that, when it comes to culture, I mean, my family, like my dad's side was Irish, my mother's side was all Italian, if that's what you're talking about, that type of culture, ethnic culture. So, everybody hangs out with the people they want to hang out with. The country is evolving. And I think that, just growing up, I'm 60 years old and, I grew up in Chicago, and I know I'm an old man, in an all Italian neighborhood. It was like nobody but Italians there. Right. So my father didn't even fit in. He was Irish. But, today it seems like, now maybe in these big cities, there's still more ethnic communities, but, where I live, I mean, it's completely different here. So, moving out of Chicago and all these little ethnic suburbs is different than living here. But I think everybody's going to kind of stay with the ethnic cultures that they want to stay with, and I don't really see it as a problem. I think that I think that everybody's going to gravitate to the people they want to gravitate to, and I don't really see much of a problem with it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I think you added a different element that I haven't thought of before. I was mainly referring to just conservative values being looked down upon.
Oh.
And I think one of the markers for this was when the conservative movement, we're doing the Nick Whitey Fuente. Hey, Apollo, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. Yeah. No, so one of the markers for this deterioration of conservative culture was when Republicans at large just accepted that Bruce Jenner was now Caitlyn Jenner. Now, Joe, I know that's probably one of your best friends and you have a relationship somehow, but let's just be honest here. We accepted, a trans person, just like we accepted that he was now she, and we went along and played the game. And then we accepted people like Dave Rubin purchasing kids. And now he has kids that he's raising with his husband, and he's a man. So there's no mom in their lives. So I think in general, conservative culture is seemingly compromising on critical issues. That's what I was referring to, but I think you added a different element.
Well,
I think
right, but I wasn't talking politics. So you're talking politics here, and
All right, y'all are gonna have to hold for a minute, Sam. Make sure you write down what you're gonna talk here real quick. Behizo, say hello to the Tina.
Hey.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Peter.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good. I'm good. Another day in paradise, right, Behizy?
Well, I wouldn't call what you're going through paradise, but I understand the humor. I pray you get out soon, because it's actually kind of depressing that in the state of Colorado, somewhere very close to us, you are locked up in jail while actual criminals are destroying our streets.
Exactly. You've got it. You so have it. Well, Jared was going to have me do a little recording before because Yehuda's going to do my show tomorrow, and I was going to give you a shout out because and then he just told me that you're there. I said that's funny because I was just going to give him a shout out about coming to my trial and you guys driving up in the Tesla the Tesla truck, and it just really meant a lot. Thank you.
You drove up in you have a Tesla truck?
Look, let's talk about
what is wrong with this guy? Seriously,
look, Tina, even while you're in this situation, Joe's making jokes about me. He's making fun of me.
Tina, he changed his name. He changed his name to Nick Fuentes.
Nick Whitey Fuentes.
Nick Whitey Fuentes.
Look what he's doing. He doesn't want you to get out. Now he's associating me with Nick Fuentes.
No, that's
but
fine.
look,
I did it there this game.
You'll get out when you have people like Joe fighting for your release. God's gonna do something. I mean, it's going to happen. I hope the DOJ is serious about what they're doing, and that they don't take their sweet time. They need to do it as soon as possible, and whatever they need to do.
Yeah. I think they are. And this is not for public release yet, just so you know. So Joe, don't put this out there, but
hold on. You're on. Bring me back. All right. Be nice.
Okay,
right.
I'll bring you back.
Okay, you're back. Okay, but now you're on the air. So we had everybody hitting mute buttons everywhere, Tina.
You're supposed to tell me that. You're supposed to tell me that before I start talking about that. Okay. Well, anyway, I just believe that the Trump administration and the Department of Justice are going to do everything they can to right a wrong. The people are the ones that were defrauded. It's not, I'm the scapegoat right now, but it was the people whose votes were not counted properly, and when you have someone voting, thinking their vote's counting for their representative, and then there's 10 other votes going in on the other side, that's a real serious problem. And I know I'm preaching in the choir. I don't have to tell you guys this, but if this is what it took to get the attention around the country and to get the attention of the people that love this country, then it's a small price to pay. I really appreciate everyone, but yeah, Behizy, you guys getting the word out. You've been such a trumpet to.
Are you there? You're breaking up.
She's got bad Wi-Fi. Tell her to move her tablet.
I mean, for
$40
$40 a minute, been there. There should be really good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, for $40 a minute, I know it should be. These things are so archaic. I mean, if you've got a brilliant person like Jared that's been in this business for many, many years, that can't figure out this archaic system, it's in trouble. But and that's another thing. There needs to be some competition at these prisons and these jails for stuff like this. This
Tina,
is ridiculous.
You didn't go to jail to go reform it. You went in to get out quicker. So.
Well, I don't know. You had Jake trying to break in yesterday.
We're coming. No man left behind. We're coming for you, Tina. We love you, Tina.
Yeah. Love you. Thank you so much. When I was the first night I was in the Mesa County Jail after the indictment, and they took me to jail. I'm laying there in this filthy place on this tiny little thin, cracked plastic mat with no sheet, no, nothing under these super bright lights, freezing to death while the deputies had on padded, insulated jackets, drinking their Starbucks coffees. And I remember looking up at the cell and I'm going, am I going to have to run for sheriff just to fix this? I mean,
Tina
my
Peters for
Navy SEAL
sheriff.
son said to me, my Navy SEAL son said that I fix things. And so that is what goes through my mind when I see things that are, and from being a business owner, Joe, that's what you do. You make things more efficient and streamlined and so they work well. So yeah, there's a lot of those kind of things that run through my mind to fix around here. It's a broken system. It really is.
Well, that's just so sad. I mean, listen to what she's saying. I would sacrifice for my country. I want to help people who are even in this position, who even if they deserve to be there. Like, this is a good person, and the fact that she was put in prison,
9.5 years.
Pelosi, and people who are really harming the country are walking free and making money, it just shows you the state we're in. It's really honestly depressing. And I think everyone responsible for putting her in prison should feel ashamed of themselves. I mean, you're putting someone who is a good person for political reasons, and that is not okay at all.
There's going to be an interview that I did with Spencer Sosher on 9 News tonight. So I hope they play it in its entirety, but I'm not able to, for obvious reasons, being in jail in Colorado, to watch the program. So you might look at it and see if it was well represented. But I guess they don't want people seeing the local news because they might be on it. I don't know. The criminals and stuff, but the real criminals.
Just another tactic
So what
to
are you guys doing?
dehumanize.
Just hanging out?
Yeah, we're working the problem. We got Sam Anthony calling in from Florida. He has he has a news network down. Actually, it's across the country now, and so he's on with us. And then we have Matt Wallace. So yeah,
Yay, Matt.
Yeah, Matt's you guys have met. Have you met? Matt, have you met Tina?
Over interview only,
No.
not in person.
Well, I think Yehuda had him on the phone when Behizy and him were at my house, right? Is that who
No. No.
Yehuda had on Behizy? No?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's not. The first
Well,
time
I think
we
I probably
talked,
follow Matt, or he follows me or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true. I mean, we talked yesterday. I was the one who interviewed you. I know it's hard because you can't really see us, right, from that computing system. So yeah, I was the one who talked to you yesterday, and I've been praying for you, posting about you, trying to help the degree I can. Even though we don't know each other personally, I empathize a lot with the story because it's one of the saddest things that is happening right now, and everyone should be working hard who has the ability to do something to help get you out.
Oh, Matt, thank you so much. Yes, I do remember now. I'm sorry. But thank you so much for that. I can never, I told Joe, I said, we're going to have to do a big event just so everybody can get together and meet each other and, just give God the glory, because I'll tell you, there's no one, I know that, what I've been through in the natural, that I could not have done it if it hadn't been for God. I really do. Because it's supernatural to be able to go through, especially at my age, the amount of stress and persecution and things like that. Taking my husband, going into a nursing home and having him sign a divorce decree a month before our 35th wedding anniversary. I mean, there's nothing that those evil people wouldn't stoop to, and. But God sees all this, and that's what we're seeing in the Trump administration and the DOJ now, is a righting of the ship.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, you probably need to know this news. The President Trump just revoked all the autopen pardons by Biden. So it sounds like he's going to go after all of the bad people, including Anthony Fauci. Woo!
Wow, good. So he revoked all those pardons?
Yes.
By Biden?
Yes.
Wow, that's powerful. Yeah. I couldn't get on the news today. We had an inmate that wanted to watch something else, so I'll have to see if I can get on tonight.
Do they have awesome. Tina on the Getting Out system you have? Do they have the little news tab section still?
No, it doesn't. Not that I know of on here. It's pretty limited. And yeah, it's pretty limited.
Sorry to hear that. Well, we'll keep you updated. Keep on, making sure that you're checking in with us, because the American people last night were tuned in droves to listen to you and to continue to advocate for your release. We love you so much. God is continuing to work both through you and through the entire country. Your story is becoming one of such deep import to, I think, the future of the country, as far as people realizing that even though Trump is president, the individual states each also need their own Trump and their own Doge, Elon Musk. I mean, just getting him elected in the highest office does not mean, because we live in a republic where the states are sovereign in many ways. And we know this now because Trump and his administration literally just a few days ago said, we need to get Tina Peters out, and they can't because of the deeply embedded Marxist, these people are demonic, you call them as you see them, that are holding you against, the will of all of us. So you're a hallmark to know that the job is not done. Just because we won 2024 doesn't mean the job's done. We're going to continue to work to get you out and to clean up all of our states, top to bottom, governor, secretary of state, all the way through, attorney generals. We need a clearing of house. We need MAGA from the top to the bottom, from the dog catcher to the president himself.
And know that every post that we're making about
the corners, everything. You're so right, because I've been saying the midterm elections, we've got to get this done. We've got to get the paper ballot, day voting, the wipe out the electronic voting registration system, to get out of ERIC, and make people come in, show their ID, vote on the day of. If you want to register to vote, you need to just obliterate those voter rolls and have people come in individually if they want to vote in the next election. And until we do that, and if we get that done before the midterms, we will turn around Colorado and all the other states. We will take the governorship, the secretaries of state, the AGs, all of it, down, like you said, down to the dog catcher and the coroner. I mean, the coroners were even installed, to cover up the Fauci deal. So, we got to get it done. There's a lot to get done. So you got to get me out of here so I can help.
We're coming.
We got you. The cavalry's coming.
Yeah, Tina, I was about 10 minutes from getting arrested yesterday, trying to get in there to see you. So, the temperature, we're turning up the temperature on these people.
You have 1 minute remaining.
And we're coming for you. We love you.
I I love you guys. You heard that recording. I've got 1 minute remaining. I just want to tell you thank you so much. And you guys go. You are champions. And I'm just so grateful to even know you. If all this hadn't happened, I wouldn't even know the people that have just so warmed my heart. And I love you all. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, God bless you.
God bless you guys.
And Sam too. He can't hear you. You can't hear him, but Sam is giving you his best. Yeah, he's.
I hear her.
But she can't hear you because of where we are. Yeah. So Sam just said you have a message, Sam. I'll give it to her quickly. We're just going to kick off.
I mean, I feel so horrible for her. I mean,
which Sam?
Sam
everybody wants her out. It's just how do you do it?
Great.
Your news.
Hey, Sam.
Hi. All right. I'm going to let you go. We love you, Tina. Obviously, you know that I'm.
Thank you for using.
Okay, here we go.
Devastating. Though that gives me such chills down my spine. Being there, first of all, I don't know if you guys watched a live stream yesterday. Actually, this would be a perfect time, Apollo, if you could play a little bit of us with me interacting with the police officers, the correctional sheriffs, the sheriff's deputies at Tina Peters' Larimer County political gulag that she's being held at. But just pulling up there yesterday with Jared and Cindy, two untamed warriors here that work for Joe. Just pulling up at the facility yesterday, walking. It is my first time at a correctional facility since I, literally took off sprinting out of the DC jail. But just being there and crossing the threshold, knowing that there are people in positions of power in this government that would want nothing more than to lock many of us up right here because it's our reporting, our fight, our stance that is putting America back in the place of supremacy it deserves to be. But more than that, we're setting the tone and the example for true justice, not this two-tiered prosecution. And so being inside one of these correctional facilities again, knowing that our sister is just, it's so weird because sometimes in these facilities I would get a visitor, my father or somebody, and it's literally just like a glass door or one or two like little pathways separating you from freedom. And being that close, knowing that Tina was probably within 50 yards of where I was at, but I was unable to touch her and reach her and try to save her and get her. And it's very daunting to me. It was daunting to me. I mean, Holy Spirit came and gave us power yesterday, and we could play a clip if we have it, Apollo, of yesterday outside. The police they actually ended up being professionals, but we learned. Joe was talking about this around the dinner table last night. They may send out a couple people that are able to interact, but the brass, the officials behind them are screaming, and they're very seething, full of hatred. Right. They don't want Tina to have a voice. They don't want reporters outside. They don't want people prying into the lack of nutrition, the lack of sunlight, the horrible conditions of confinement, the strip searches, the 19 different cellmates. And so they sent out a couple professionals, and they actually may have been Trump supporters, and so they may have been sympathetic. But the brown shirt Nazis are the problem. The people who follow orders against the human rights and the cruel and unusual punishment, the constitutional civil liberties that our founding fathers secured with their own blood for us. These brown shirts who simply just, maybe they're not, the ones calling the shots, but they're the ones closing the train car doors, and at the end of the day, Tina's suffering because so many complacent wheels in that cog are following orders and are being complicit to the torture of an American hero, a election whistleblower who saw something wrong and said something.
Sam, you want to stay with us? We're going to play something. You going to stay with us?
Sure.
All right. So I want to play this because Jake Lang spent 4 years in the gulag, and he tried really hard yesterday to break back in.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I mean,
if you guys see me, I'm like staring at the windows, like banging on the window, like somebody, because it was the weekend, and these people are evil. But
let's play it.
Let's play it. Play the clip.
We'll get there.
All that filibustering.
I know.
This is like the
We're
Senate,
almost there.
U.S. Senate.
Yeah. Are we going to play that video today?
Hey, Corporal Connors.
There we go.
Is it Mr. Lang? Yes, Edward Lang. Yes,
sir.
yeah.
Thank you for waiting. Sorry it took so long.
God
to
bless
get
you
out
guys.
here.
We're live on my little news thing here. I'm actually a former January 6th political prisoner. Donald Trump just pardoned me. So this process,
Okay.
yeah, I did 4 years, and with that pretrial detention, they never even brought me to trial. So, I know what it's like, the whole system, waiting, patiently for you guys and stuff. So appreciate you guys. Tina has a interview tomorrow scheduled with Channel 9 News. I think it's in-person interview. Is that correct?
If it was, that would be set up through the facility director or the sheriff.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how do we go about doing that ourselves? Can we do that today? Can she come to see us today?
Unfortunately, not today. So I actually wrote some information down for
Okay.
you. With special approval from the facility administrator, you can potentially get some access to that.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Is that who's the facility administrator?
Well, we have the sheriff or Captain Batberg, who's in charge of the.
Okay. And Captain Backberg will be available tomorrow if I come here, or can I call him?
I don't have his schedule available with me.
so that's the number I just gave.
Somebody will get that message.
So this is Captain
So-
Badberg's.
No, so the main number is for the
Okay.
main facility. So you can call, leave a message, get your information to him. He can call you back if that's
Okay.
what needs to happen. Business hours. I would
Okay.
call that one. That second one is for our PIO
Okay.
that handles a lot of our information in and out.
Okay. The PIO stands for.
Press Information Office.
Okay.
Yep. And you can
Okay.
call, you can leave a message again, give them your details. They can touch base with you.
Right.
And if we need to set something up, cool. The quickest way,
Okay.
I think my understanding is what you were told to come here today.
Yeah, well, I mean, the First Amendment right to freedom of the press, it shouldn't be infringed. And so I thought that I would be able to come with my press credentials. I'm here with, we've got 25,000 people just, watching. They want to know that she's okay. They want to hear directly from her. And so I thought I would be able to come and, be able to exercise my rights as an American without being thwarted or, turned away.
Currently, unless there's approval, the only people who can do in-person visits, and even those are scheduled, they're not pop-in, are family members or legal counsel.
Okay, so family members do have access because the person on the intercom told me that there is no visits happening
There
whatsoever.
it takes a lot to schedule it,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
we just started in-person contact visits with family.
Was that because you guys had canceled them for COVID and now it's just
Yeah,
coming back?
You know how
It's
everything
crazy.
shut
Yeah,
down
I know.
for COVID. So it's wonderful
spent
to
it-
see we have that again.
900 days in a prison cell and solitary for COVID.
Well, and seeing people's faces light up again
Yeah.
now that we've got some of that is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So
Need that.
if she's got some family, I'm hoping they can come see her.
Okay. What's the credentials for that? Immediate nuclear, or is it cousins, uncles?
that I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's
those
immediate.
still need to be set up. It's
Okay.
not like they
Yep.
can do pop-ins.
And you
Okay.
should be able to do that via that main number I gave you.
Okay.
For now, the quick way is get it through video visit on the tablet. You
Yeah.
can go to Larimer County's website, or you can
Yeah.
go straight to ViaPath.
Yeah, she's.
handled that pretty well.
What? All right.
Handled that pretty well.
You did handle it really well, and they were nice. They were nice guys.
Well,
Kind of.
you got to be a warrior, in a garden, and a gardener in a war, So I was channeling my, being a warrior in a garden there, just trying to maintain integrity. Because first of all, the world's watching, and we have to be different than our enemies. Now we can't be like Antifa, and these Hamas rioters they don't have any respect for our law enforcement. But at the end of the day, inside my heart is a burning fire. I'm sure everybody feels the same way. It's like, as men, there's only so much that you can get pushed, and especially when it's a woman, that we're dealing with here. Tina Peters is a 70-year-old Gold Star mother. Her son, who was a Navy SEAL, lost his life. She's a hero herself, and she has lineage of heroes. And so, for me, it's just like, how do we best go about doing this through the official channels? And when is enough enough? How much human suffering do we as men just sit back and watch before we ourselves must stand in the gap for these women and these people that are truly suffering? And, me being incarcerated with the January Sixers, all of the heart of everything that I did while I was inside there, as far as the J6 Legal Fund and commissary funds and everything that we raised and stuff, came from the heart of, let me at least try to put a stopgap, put a bandage on the pain, so that I can feel at least I'm doing something, because it is in our hearts as Christians and as men of God and as Americans to stand and fight against evil. And so we have to always try to maneuver and figure out the best way to get, the recourse that we're looking for, which is Tina Peters immediately released. And so, if bringing camera crews outside the jails, if writing emails, if donating to her legal fund, which is tinapeters.us. If you guys want to go donate, we raised I think 10,000 yesterday on the stream for her, which was great. And Joe, you made a promise yesterday, so I'm waiting for the check. For Tina.
No, I already handled my.
I know. I'm kidding. Joe is he's as solid as they come. But for us, we're trying to go about this through the correct measures and correct resources, because at the end of the day, this is so abominable. And somebody should do something immediately. And we're calling upon the governor of Colorado and the attorney general to dismiss the case and to issue the pardons and get this hero out of that prison cell. People can only get pushed so far. You need to make action now. We're going about this as professionals and as men of God, but don't push a dog against a wall. Eventually the dog's going to bite you. Get her out now. I'm getting pissed off. Get her out now.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Polis really should take a step here and do the right thing. I mean, I know Jared has some moderate opinions on some things, and so I really hope that he's able to see that this is unfair, and regardless of the politics. I know I'm making a plea to someone who's probably not going to listen.
Listen to me. This is a guy.
Like that's the best probability.
This is the guy when Coomer sued me.
Yeah.
Nominated a radical Antifa judge to the bench, and then the radicalness of the Colorado court system put a person with no experience in anything as the judge over my case, and then issued what's called a sua sponte ruling, which means that overruled a 20-year sitting judge that had only been overturned on appeal twice in her career. And gave Coomer another bite at the apple when he never should have. That case should have been thrown out a long time ago. So Jared Polis is a part of the problem. He is deeply connected to Dominion voting systems. He is deeply connected to the fraud in our state and in this country. He is as big of a demon as George Soros is, and I can go down the line. He is a very, very bad guy. There is no half bad, half good. He is complicit, and he knows what is happening inside the machine.
And he may be one of the only people who can really make a big difference right now, and that's what sucks. Because I mean, that's why Colorado falling was one of the worst things.
If Jared Polis
dereliction of duty, depose him.
If Jared Polis was planning, which I think he is, on running in 2028, it would be a political masterclass if he signed a pardon of Tina Peters, just did it. Right, he's going to get a lot of pushback from the left. Right, blah, 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 you're freeing this insurrectionist, blah, blah. We know the rhetoric. But if he did that, I'm sure you're going to have very gullible conservatives who are going to be like, oh, hold on a second. I know he's very, very retarded, as Joe says a lot. Man, I'm picking up your lingo here.
You got it, bro. You put it what I put down. Lefticals, too. You know why they call them lefticals?
He's very unwise.
Because the guy no testicles.
He's very unwise, but
dad joke.
He did pardon. He
soon to be grandpa joke.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Sam, help me out here, bro.
I
think
God is preparing your heart for grandchildren. Right? Sam can't help you out here.
This is called conditioning.
Babies are coming in the next 2 to 3 years. See, I changed it from 9 months. I gave you an extra year,
bro. How many kids do you have that you know about or don't know about?
Look, Joe, I don't have any kids. I'm nobody's baby daddy. There's no baby mama out there. We might need to talk to Jake, though. Jake's having a kid in 9 months.
Amen.
What was her name?
Did you hear the
St. Clair? St. Clair? What's that name?
Oh, Ashley St. Clair.
Ashley St. Clair. I heard she wants a Behizy hizzy.
Oh, man.
A Behizy baby?
A Behizy baby.
Actually, I know this is a side point.
Mama.
I know this is a side point, but we're all men here. I mean, does this Ashley girl really think Elon Musk, the most richest man in the world, has time for boyfriend activities? I mean, he had a kid with her, right?
He had time for some activities.
Well, yeah, he certainly did. But she thinks him being there means he's gonna snuggle up and watch movies. No, he has to put a rocket on Mars. He has to bring a human to Mars in the next 2 years, or he's just gonna be depressed.
Hey, Sam, what do you think about what do you think about all that? I mean, you get to listen to this. This must be like, man, what's like romper room over there?
Well, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I mean, going back to the Tina Peters thing, does anybody know if there's a path to her getting out? I mean, I know that, every state is its own entity, but can Trump do something to get her out? I would assume that he put really big political pressure, but I don't know that
it's like negotiating, Sam, for Trump to do anything right now. This is like negotiating with like Russia for like a hostage release. This is going to have to be, I do for you, you do for me, or the opposite. If you don't do for me, then we won't do for you, or I will do this XYZ sanction, ... type of thing. But it's a little more difficult because it's a federal government versus a state. But there's going to have to be political arm twisting, and that's what Trump has to do.
If the DOJ determined that she was unfairly treated, they can withhold funds, just like they're threatening to do with sanctuary cities. They can say, we're not going to fund your Justice Department in Colorado, because they do have the ability to send a lot of grants to the states. And if Colorado loses grants for a whole year, the state would lose a lot, right? The state would be wrecked, and the Democrats would be blamed for it. And even the voters here, even the Democrat voters are going to be like, wait, hold on a second. I know, Joe, elections are rigged, right? But there are still like Democrats around here. If the Democrat
they are rigged. What are you talking about? We're standing up for Tina Peters because she proved it.
Right. But what I'm saying
just trying to help me out here.
Is, to a certain degree, there are Democrats in this state, right? Even though the elections are rigged,
I never met a green-haired purple monster the entire 4 days I was in Denver here. Actually, no. The only thing I've met, other than Joe and the people that are an immediate like radius to him, is this state. God forbid, man. I mean, it's just maybe just Denver and all the like Starbucks employees that are like off duty, running around here. But man, you guys need a cultural like revolution here. It's going to be beautiful, and that's why Matt's here. We got young men here that are going to lead the mission for Christ here in this state.
The very few liberals here, if they saw, hey, we're losing federal funding because these Democrats don't want to release like this innocent grandma. What was her crime? Did she kill anybody? No. They're going to be very skeptical of their own party. So it would actually be a political masterclass for the Trump administration to freeze grants to Colorado because of their violations of Tina Peters' constitutional rights.
I want to hear Matt's path to victory because I know he's got a good take on this.
Yeah, I thought of something actually. So the liberals, most of them want her in prison. They wanted Jake in prison. I don't think that is necessarily an easy path, even though I wish it was. What may work, and I just thought of this, I haven't thought fully through it yet, but maybe if we find a prisoner who's on the left in a Republican state, and maybe they got a harsher sentence than they deserved, which is rare, right? Because Republicans don't normally do that. It's normally the left that uses the legal system weaponized in that way. But if we find that, or even if someone who just could use a lighter sentence, whatever it is, maybe someone can make a deal, one of the governors of Republican states, someone that Jared would feel good being pardoned, and then in exchange, Tina can get pardoned. That seems like
we're not
most
freeing
logical.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Oh,
they're saying he might get a penalty.
That's a bad trade.
That's
man.
federal charges too.
That's
right?
a bad. So that's like
you can't. It would have to be state. It have to be state charges. Someone that Jared Polis would be happy to have pardoned. Maybe then someone
we're
could
doing
work out
a
a deal.
Brittany Griner.
A Brittany Griner. Yeah,
this is a good idea.
It just keeps getting better. I mean, Brittany Griner.
Like a
prisoner swap. Yeah.
Let's liaison
we'll free the merchant of death in another state. He can go do his merchant of death stuff, and at least
remember we traded Brittany Griner for like the most notorious.
Tina's way better
arms
than
dealer.
Griner. So I mean, look, I feel like Tina could even go on the court and be better than Brittany Griner on that field too. So
the Federal Elections Commission writes a declaration that all voting machines right now lied to the FEC by saying their machines didn't have internet connectivity.
But we already proved they did.
Right. We proved they did. But if we get that declaration,
that's a pathway to victory.
Then now it looks like Tina was
that's a pathway to victory, because in a legal case, you're always allowed, if there's new evidence that arises that pertains to the case, exculpatory evidence, you can have a new trial granted upon basis on that. And so if Donald Trump's team does the 2020 election audits, which we need, because not only is it going to vindicate Tina Peters, but it's going to show that the Jan 6ers were righteous in our conduct, that we were standing up truly for a stolen election as patriots, not as, just inflamed, political people that were mad that our party lost, right? This was like an actual duty that we were like called to do. Okay, they stole the election. We've proven it now. And then that'll also open up an avenue for Tina's case to be brought back up, a new trial, overturned with new evidence because she was doing her duty as well. And she'll come out the hero she is. And the Jan Sixers will be vindicated and all will be well. And Behizy will be the new co-host of America First with Nick Fuentes, and everything will be right in the world.
But
Well,
even
look, Matt, I love you, bro, but we are not trading El Chapo for Tina Peters. I love Tina. I love Tina.
I
But
feel like it doesn't
that's
have to.
maybe
Maybe
there's
there's
crazy.
I'd trade
It
him.
doesn't have.
Yes, I don't care. El Chapo, he's not America. I'm America First.
Nah,
Man,
we
let me
gotta
just tell you
I mean,
something.
look,
Here's why
Tina
I would do
Peters
it.
has to
El
be free.
Chapo.
We have to pick.
I
Someone,
don't think
pick someone,
Tina's going to
whoever
come
it is.
out of jail and be happy that El Chapo is now back free.
Hey, Sam, you know what an MRAD is? 338 Lapua.
No.
All right, so a 338 Lapua is pretty deadly at about 1.2 miles, right?
Wow. Okay.
Put a burst, 20 to 30 or 18 to 30.
So just drop him off over the border at about
That's
1.2
right.
miles away.
That's right.
There you go. I was tracking what he was saying.
We get Tina, and El Chapo gets El Chopped.
See, now we have the perfect plan. There it is. We don't. Nothing else has to be tried. We'll just do that.
The whole court thing, it would take forever to get around, right? I mean, you're talking years. So
Yeah, on the normal appeal is 2.5 years, and a federal appeal. I don't know about the state appeals. It may move a little quicker because the federal system's so antiquated. But
And they could just railroad her again.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that would still lead to her being
normally, the judges on the district court level, on the local level, that make it to the appellate court are usually the ones who play ball the most. They're usually the most liberal, right? The ones that are like the inside traders of the justice game there. And so normally your appellate court will be even more weaponized and liberal than your local district court. We're just so blessed that our Supreme Court, we have at least a halfway decent shot with.
He had to change this. At least halfway decent.
Yeah, well, it is halfway decent. I mean, we won in Supreme Court. They took my case. We won in Supreme Court, but they've made many, many grave mistakes since. And
Jake, that was actually one of the shocking moments that at least gave me some belief in the system, in the justice system again.
Amen.
That maybe, if things do go really wrong, there can be correction. Because I thought the Supreme Court was just going to side with the DOJ on the 1512 obstruction of Congress. I thought so. By the grace of God, they didn't. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, we have a system now that is very vulnerable at the lower level to these hacks, but we pray that as the appeals get higher and higher, they do eventually get heard. And maybe this is going to be a naive point, but I want to give credit to the Supreme Court. They allow the shenanigans to play out in the lower courts. So at some point when there is a resolution, it doesn't seem like the highest court in the land is just stamping their authority. It seems more like the system is just allowing the events and things to go and play out. Just like with this firing of this Dellinger guy as special counsel. I mean, lower court judge said, no, this is an illegal firing, blah, blah, blah. The Trump administration appealed to the Supreme Court and said, just declare that we can fire these people. And the Supreme Court was like, let's let it play out.
You're giving a lot of shout outs to the federal government today.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, I feel like you're federalizing it.
He's like, big shout out to the people who collect our taxes against our will at gunpoint.
Yeah,
that is bad. No,
make us slaves.
Screw them. Let's storm
it
the
would be
Capitol.
the whitest guy in the room. Whitey, put Whitey back on there. Hey, Sam, I know we've kept you a long time. How can people follow you, and how can people get involved in it? And on your side.
With us, it's you could become a reader, right? It's yournews.com. You could become a contributor. If you want to be a news reporter, you could go to the bottom of the page and you'll see become a citizen journalist. Just fill out the application. And then, we're doing something called an equity crowdfund. So you know what that is. We're selling stock in the company, but we're not doing it the old way. Like if you go down to the bottom of the page, it'll say become a citizen, or it'll say there's an invest button where you can actually make an investment in the company. We're using Issuance Express, which is owned by North Capital Partners, and that equity crowdfund is how you would buy stock in the company. So after you read about it, but we're not funded by institutional players. We decided that we wanted to this movement needed to be funded by we the people, and that's how we're doing it. So anybody that wants to participate could certainly participate. I actually, going back to the Tina Peter thing, it seems like the fastest route here would really be financial, right? Just pull some of their federal funds, let Trump does what he does in the background. And next thing you know, somehow somebody's going to say, just let her go because we just lost $1 billion or whatever it is. So anybody have a comment on that?
Well, I mean, they could, if a Democrat, God forbid, does win an election federally again, wouldn't they try to use the same method to get people out of prison who actually do deserve to be there? That's a little scary.
Yeah. So I mean, look, they did that anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. At this point, might as well. I agree with you.
Well, because if we release our Chapo, I feel like that's a little bad.
Yeah, he needs to stay. He needs to stay behind bars.
I mean, look, we have to look at this from a different perspective, I think, and you can get her out now as a federal witness because she was protecting election records.
That's true.
So they could take control of Tina.
Send the marshals.
Put a thing saying we're taking custody of Tina Peters. There is a federal authority for them to do that.
We don't want Pam Bondi prosecuting her now.
Could they do that with Derek Chauvin as well? Because I mean, he needs to be pardoned. Obviously.
Yes. Yeah, they can.
Okay, that's I
mean, actually, I hold on a second. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if they can do that with him
was
because
he a federal witness of anything?
he was not a federal witness and he wasn't involved in. I mean, although the case was, you could argue that there was direct interference because you had Maxine Waters that was in front of the courthouse as they were going to verdict, who said, we're going to burn it all down. You couldn't convict them. We're going to burn it all. She should be charged. I mean, man, they should just have a charging
jury tampering.
It is jury tampering.
Jury tampering. That's what they did. J6 Select Committee. That's why they're going to jail. And that's what I'm going to the Capitol to ensure. We're going back to the Capitol.
We're going to go into the Capitol. No,
all right. Hey, Sam, we'll have you back on. But thanks for joining us. God bless you, brother.
God bless you. Hey,
All
Sam,
right,
I got a lot of Jan 6. Got a lot of Jan 6ers that would love to come and write for your news. I'm going to get you connected with Joe.
Absolutely.
I've got 1,600 guys that just got out, and probably about 20 or 30 of them have been journalists in the past and stuff. They're trying to get their lives back together. And so I'm going to send a whole entire army of Jan 6ers to storm your news.
Do it. Joe's got my number. Have him text me.
100%.
Send me an email. Yeah. Okay,
All
guys. Thank you so much. Great meeting.
Thanks,
everybody.
brother. Good seeing you.
Nice to meet you, man.
All right. So we got through a little bit. I just felt like we were going back and forth and Sam wasn't really getting on the screen a little bit. So I didn't want to keep him in the midst of it to where I felt like we were neglecting him. And then I want to honor everyone. So I didn't, I'll have him back on again. I got some other things that I want to run by you guys real quick that I think are important. We have some pretty serious problems that are still happening. If you go to X right now and you just go to X, just go to any page on X, just say, okay, I'm going to go look at the content that's on X. The first thing that came up for me was Adam Schiff saying the members of the J6 committee are all proud of our work. Your threats will not intimidate us or silence us. This is a guy that's a senator. This is from Adam Schiff. This is the first thing. First thing that I put up. Literally first thing. And and it has a picture of President Trump saying the pardons are null and void. You go to the next one. Elon Musk is talking about Doge. You go to the next one though. This guy talks about a person that Trump. This is Jay in Kiev. This is one of those little simps for Ukraine. The person that Trump installed to run all of America's intelligence agencies just reposted a pro-Russian resident of Malaysia that earns a living pushing Kremlin disinfo. And literally, as the person said that, is going after Tulsi Gabbard, who spent over 20 years in the military, who has the highest security clearance. And she now is an enemy to this, whoever this Jay in Kiev is. We are, and people are paying attention to this. They're paying attention, guys. It's gotta at some point become illegal for our politicians to lie to their constituents. It's got to become illegal. I mean, The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act that happened in 2012 allowed for the news to lie now to the people. But now you have the politicians that are creating. Bernie Sanders is coming to Colorado to talk about President Trump being a Nazi. He's using those words. Those are treasonous words. You're inside the government. You're a part of the legislative branch, and you're making stuff up that is not supported by any fact. So how do we deal with that? How do we deal with it?
How did our founding fathers deal with it? I mean,
punched him in the face.
No, they didn't do that.
Well, they did other things, but
I think, we live in a really funny country where people who have done nothing with their lives are sitting there like, Elon Musk is stupid. He shouldn't be involved in our government whatsoever. It's like, if not Elon, then who? I mean, this guy built like 1 billion companies, hundreds of billions of dollars. Of course it should be him. But, they're going to lie. And the good news is their lies no longer have an effect on the general public. I mean, when Adam Schiff talks, only like the people who, have their kids, do mutilation actually pay attention to him. Normal people aren't paying attention. There's a reason they are panicking about the young male vote, to the point where they had to recruit Harry Sisson. Did you know that? They had to recruit Harry Sisson and David Hogg to create like this
soy boy campaign.
The gayest thing of all time.
They recruited all these masculine Democrats like Harry Sisson and David Hogg to appeal and appease young.
Wait, did you say masculine?
Very masculine. We know this.
You're
right?
not.
These are their identifying characteristics, their masculinity. But it's because they're panicked. They can't. You have Gavin Newsom starting a podcast and Michelle Obama starting a podcast. Democrats rightly saw that President Trump was popular because he went on a lot of podcasts. He got a lot of very non-involved voters, the younger ones especially, to vote because he showed up on Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn and all these podcasts. But Democrats thought, oh, you know what? So all we need are podcasts. So let's have Michael Obama with his brother. These two big bros.
Dude, I asked Alan too.
How little views it got too? It has no views.
Exactly.
Like, this show gets more views a minute than her show got.
And that was the point. They have lost their control of the masses and the general opinion. So whatever Adam Schiff says, I know. Whatever Jay and Keith says, I know it might suck to read. But thankfully, no one cares. No one's reading these people for their opinions. No one really takes them seriously.
Somebody's voting for them.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Just to be clear, Harry Sisson, you're describing as masculine.
Very masculine.
Yeah, the most masculine. Yeah, I feel like in his free time, he's just out chopping wood shirtless, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course.
Lighting fires and
if you want to call it wood.
Dead animals that he got with a bow and arrow.
Look, see, Joe, Jake is what you need to aspire to be. Look how you're the same size as Jake is right now, but Jake is wearing that hoodie. Camera, if you could just show the real view. I know this.
Me
is
and Joe did 5.5 miles this morning while you were sleeping,
but think about this.
dreaming of me getting out of prison.
No, Jake, just look forward. Joe, look forward. Do you see how you're both the same size, but one of you has a hoodie on? Jake has what we call the sleeper build. It means if he takes that thing off, he's jacked. Most likely. I haven't seen
I just did 4 years in prison doing 1,000 push-ups a day.
I mean,
there we go.
He was the bottom.
How did you let
He was the bottom in jail. What are you talking about?
How did you let a man?
Definitely not, brother.
You're not. You're top.
I was.
Joe, how did you let a man?
How do you answer that?
How many times was the curtain used, Jake? Did you have to put it up?
When you go to the bathroom, you put a little piece of toilet paper, you wet the top of it, and then you put it on your window so people know that you're using the bathroom. But that's when people think that you're most vulnerable. So sometimes you have to fake it, and you have to pretend that you're in the bathroom, but really you're in there just relaxing. So they don't always know. So people know that you're not always using the bathroom when you're pretending to use the bathroom. This is the kind of psychology of animals in a federal prison. So you know,
so you have to do fake poops.
yeah, you have to. So you have to use the bathroom. You have to pretend to use the bathroom more than you would.
So you have to act like you're leaking out a little bit.
Do you make the
pretty
sounds
much,
when you do it?
2-3 times a day.
No, you flush the toilet every once in a while.
What do I do to
So
the quality?
if you walk into prison, you're gonna.
You just totally brought it down. I don't even know how you brought it down.
I don't know how we look. What I was saying is, Joe, you got it 5 miles every day, not just when Jake Lang shows up and drags you to it.
Bro, you
He
are
dragged
welcome.
me.
You are welcome to just create any sort of contest you want to do. And then when I whoop your ass, look, my cousin, he's 27 years old, said I can beat you at basketball. He's 27. Okay,
beat me at basketball.
He bet me $100. He's like, I could beat you at
I'm
basketball.
hosting a live stream. Behizy versus Joe 1-on-1
on basketball. I'll crush him.
The winner takes one of these battle axes.
I will not
home.
just beat. I will give you 12 points, and we will go to 20, and I will still whoop you.
Look,
that's a serious handicap.
It looks like I touched a sensitive spot.
No, I'm good, bro. I'm married 23 years.
I basically
my wife
said,
feeds me well.
You're the same size as a guy that just got out of jail, except he's muscle, and you're.
I'm not. You know what the bad part is about Behizy is he knows what he's saying is just trying to delight me up.
I know.
He's just trying to
like a live troll.
Yeah, no, Joe's so amazing. Joe's so amazing.
See, he just wants to. He's
all
trying
300
to,
pounds of, you know.
That's
you're like a bear.
I am like a bear.
You
That's
are.
right.
Yes.
I'm a bear.
Except you're always urinating.
The build that Joe has is what we would call, a man
built like a
of 50
Gatorade
years
model.
old. That's a man. That is a man.
Wait,
you know what I mean? That's a man.
Are you saying I'm a look? Nah, I can't look like this when I'm 50.
Hey, listen.
Be blessed.
I look good, bro.
But you know what? You have really good forearms. I wish
I have really good everything. Like I'm literally I have retard strength, bro.
Don't push it. I just gave you a great compliment. You just gotta soak it in. Let it. Don't add because now I feel like I have to bring your ego down a little bit. You just said
I think that's why you do it. He's like, this guy's smart, and he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how good he looks. Look, Nick Whitey Fuentes.
Look, if I get a beard, trust me, I'm not gonna bully you anymore.
You can bully me all you want, bro. I love being bullied. I've been dealing with it for 4 years.
Joe has the O-line build. He can. If the Denver Broncos need someone, I feel like you can.
100%.
Wait, Matt. Let's not talk. You know,
am I being too nice?
Let me not turn on you.
Yeah.
Me and you.
See what he's doing?
See, you're not allowed to be too nice to Joe. Okay, I'm sorry.
Me and you have this alliance going on. Let's not ruin it. Because
by the way, did you know Elon Musk? I mean, even if you look at him and you say, all right, like the liberals will say, oh, they started the companies. He didn't really start Tesla. Blah, blah, all this fake stuff. But you can't argue with this. Any liberal in your family who tells you Elon Musk shouldn't be running or helping an Elden Ring. Which I don't play video games really much. I mean, I used to play COD, but I'm not a huge video game guy. But he's #1 in the world, and I don't know much about this, but he posted about it. He beat the record by 2 minutes. Do you know how smart you have to be #1 at one of the top played video games? I mean, it sounds a little weird, but seriously, that alone, if he had no other qualifications, would show that he would be capable if he chose to use that for good to be someone I want running the government. You can't argue against that. That's the ultimate. See, I told you Elon Musk needs to be running things.
Unfortunately, you just made a really good point, but none of the people watching actually even know what Elden Ring is.
I
guarantee it.
I only know about it because Elon Musk posts about it on X. I actually didn't know.
Much
before then.
That's a lie.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I secretly played all.
I didn't know what it was either. I was like,
Matt Wallace is #2 on Elden Ring. Very upset that Elon Musk
I was
is
so mad. I put a Chinese. I'm one of the Chinese usernames, so no one knows it's me.
You knew what it was because you're like, that little prick beat me.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh gosh, yeah. It's like, when he beat me by 2 minutes, I was pissed. So yeah.
Well, you said the same size.
Oh, you are built kind of like Elon.
I'm built like a Gatorade bottle, brother. I mean, I literally
like a Tesla Cybertruck.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, just like a really big one.
A really big one. And I'm 225. That's how much do you weigh? How much do you weigh?
Me?
Jake, how much do you weigh?
Me, $1.90.
Okay, yeah. I'm
Wait,
225.
You weigh how much?
$1.90.
No, say it in pounds. I don't do conversions like that.
How many kilograms? You need
No,
kilograms?
just pounds. Pounds.
Metric tons? Like
you're 190 pounds?
$190. That's like another commonly used phrase
Look,
that you guys
I
are.
don't see you as
I know Matt knew what that is, but
I don't see you as
throw
material.
the baby out with
I'm not putting a price tag on you.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater. $190.
I don't even know why he's calling me fat. Though. I'm. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna put this challenge together. Ready? I'm gonna put this challenge together. You and I and sit here. What is this? What's today? March 17th. So on May 17th, right before my birthday, we're gonna come in here. We're gonna take our shirts off, and we're gonna let everybody see us.
There's comments.
There you go.
What's that going to achieve?
Are you trying to back out now?
I want to show my Gatorade bottle. I mean, come on, we'll just do it. Just you and me. In March, I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna get you 2 months to get some muscles.
You can't challenge and then not. You have to step up to the plate.
In front of the audience.
In front of the audience, we're gonna stand here.
You got a whole month to tone that physique.
Yeah, you got 2 months. I give you 2 months. 2 months.
Joe,
to hone it up.
I know you're like 15% black, but you don't have to be P. Diddy. I mean, why?
Bro, I don't know why. I don't even. What are you talking about? I didn't say no baby oil. I did not say anything about baby oil at all.
Why?
I just said we're gonna take our shirts off, and I'm gonna show you me.
The audience wants baby oil.
Oh my
Give
gosh.
the audience what the audience wants.
Jake, you're an expert in like these weird circumstances because you've been in jail. But why would he? What do you want? I mean, what is he aiming for here?
I think we should do it.
But just
everybody is like this. Please spare us. What?
That's what I'm saying.
Remains to be seen. Hold on.
Look, I know they're not saying
I'm
that
not
about
really
me.
in anybody's junk. Final Fantasy much better than the new man. Gammy, you need to stop talking like right now. Bring on the Behizy is almost as manly as Al Green.
Oh no, that's
I know Jeff too. I know
words
Jeff
right there. Oh,
maybe he meant old Al Green.
Yeah, mean Joe Green. He was trying to.
Yeah, that guy, he completely lost his mind. Can we talk about the border and mass deportation?
Hey, May 17th, right? May 17th, right here.
Look, some of us don't want to agree to things that are clearly, we don't want to insult the audience.
They won't be insulted at all.
By showing them our bodies, that's.
Hey, all right, will you guys be insulted by the fact that he challenged me? He's like, all right, he said go for it. Jody said go for it. Huh? May 17th.
May 17th?
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, let's do it.
That give you enough time?
Let me put enough time.
Enough time.
I can
Get grow some muscles
right now, and I'll be good.
Dude,
Man, I'm chocolate Superman. I show up and I save the day, man.
2 months, Jackety Jack.
You're gonna give people cancer when they see you. They're gonna be like, man.
All right.
Their eyes are just.
I want to give people cancer. No, I don't. What am I doing? No, I'm good with it. May 17th.
They see that.
I've been lost for a little while now.
You're gonna have
between
more
the baby oils, the forearms.
Here's what. Yeah, here's what Behizy does. This is the craziest thing ever. He shows up. We're at an event. I'm getting ready to speak, and he walks over, puts his hand on my stomach, and he's like, "Yeah, you're built pretty well. You got a little bit of a belly, though." That's the first thing he says to me. Walks in. He's like, "Yeah, you're kind of built, except for that little belly. What's that thing? You need to get rid of that."
Look. There's a concern of mine
Yes.
that we're gonna get minimal deportations and not the maximum mass deportations.
You want to go back to this? You want to talk about it?
He's right though. I mean, that is true.
I have a fear, Joe, that we're gonna get a couple, like maybe 1 million people out. And that's it. I mean, the biggest story as it relates to deportations is that, some judge somewhere, some geek ruled that actually they weren't supposed to deport gangsters and send them back to Venezuela. And so the administration landed in El Salvador and Bukele took them in and, like the cool it was a great video, but it was like 226 illegals. And you remember like the first week they were reporting numbers like I just arrested 2,000 people, 1,000 people.
It slowed down.
They stopped reporting.
It slowed down.
So I really hope this isn't true. If we have 15 million or 10 million or even just 5 million people that we need to get out, arresting 500 people a day or 200 people and then complaining about detention facilities and
we need to start deputizing
That's what I'm saying.
We need election integrity deputies. We need real people because there's too much malfeasance going on. Border security deputies, they can't handle it on their own. The federal government is already too bloated.
I'd say instead of just
the everyday Americans.
I'd say all the money we would spend fighting Houthis in Yemen, we should just like redirect that to paying for mass.
Look, nobody even talks about stuff with Yemen. Yemen's a mess right now. I mean, there's some massive problems in that country. Look, let's go through some progression here based on what you're saying, because I think it's super important. It's slowed down because activist judges in multiple states have made rulings that have made it impossible. Either one of two things. There are organizations, NGOs, and state organizations in different states that are training illegals on resistance factors, like opening car doors when they're getting ready to drive away and standing in the way and holding on to them. I mean, like lots of people are interfering with them doing their job, right? Number one. Number two, you have judges that are trying to basically put a squash on it. And this one, we'll go straight to this if we can, Apollo. C1, President Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act and had 200 Tren de Agua gang members deported to El Salvador. However, this chief judge in the D.C. District Court attempted to block this and told the planes carrying these criminals to come back to the United States. Let's go ahead and play this first cut if we can.
President Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act.
I got to do a legal meeting with.
The judge is considering a wide-reaching order to block him from deporting non-citizens under that act.
The president took action, saying the U.S. is being invaded by the Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua. Earlier, a federal judge had granted a temporary restraining order barring the president from deporting 5 Venezuelans under the Alien Enemies Act. It's only been used 3 other times. One was part of the internment of Japanese American civilians during World War II. The Alien Enemies Act could allow the president to speed up deportations.
Just go.
Guys, I got to make I'll make the announcement so everybody knows at least. The Jan 6ers obviously were filing a $50 billion lawsuit, and the legal team here, these guys are waiting. They're great American heroes, and I need to take care of my Jan 6ers. The first things first. Joe's podcast.
All right, go. Amazing. We'll talk about this.
But we've got
Perry's got to take care of you.
1,600 people.
Perry, he just told us like 1 minute ago. We're not trying to.
Well, I didn't know we were going to go for a 16-hour podcast. Yesterday we did a 16-hour podcast.
Bro,
and it was great.
Just go. Get out.
No, not yet. No, I'm going to stay. I'm going to resist.
Are you kicking
guys,
out
God bless America.
I'm kicking out a January 6th who tried to go to jail.
Man.
I'm storming other things.
Silencing Jake Lang.
We'll come back to you.
I'll be back.
All right, listen. This is a U.S. court.
U.S. District Court,
yeah.
James Boasberg saw criminal illegal aliens that are,
and these are gang members.
Yeah,
he said, bring the gang members back to America.
Yeah, well, I think I don't even know if the administration deliberately ignored the order or the order came in too late, but they need to start ignoring these judges.
Well, he did. Actually, this is what Tom Holman has said. Let's play the second clip.
That's amazing if they actually did violate it in that manner. Because
you're going to run out of money. Yeah. It doesn't look like you're getting support from the Democrats on this. You're going against the judges now. What's next?
Another flight every day. The teams are going to be out there every day. Every day, the men and women of ICE are going to be in the neighborhoods of this nation arresting criminal, illegal alien, public safety threats, and national security threats. Lawrence, you're not going to stop us. We made a promise to the American people.
I didn't think I could love like a man like I love Tom Holman, because he could just be like, we're trying our. He's like, nah, we got another flight coming up, you know. So I think that's the rhetoric we actually do need. And you're gonna bring up Caroline Leavitt. She's incredibly smart. They said, Caroline, how many of these illegals that were arrested, how many of them were like actual like criminals versus, just non-criminals? And she's like, they're all criminals because they broke the law to be in the country. So I think that's the language we need to start.
But the rhetoric needs to match the action. Pam
We do
Bondi's
have
not
really
doing
good,
enough.
We
She's
have really
not,
good rhetoric, don't we?
Yeah, the rhetoric is always there. They got the rhetoric is Tom Homan's rhetoric. It's good, but they're not. They could be charging people who are helping these illegals to resist and who are aiding and abetting in their legal activity. They could be going and confronting the judges, trying to take them down. Charges could be pushed there as well, pushing harder on the Alien Enemies Act, which he says he's going to do. So far, I haven't seen enough yet. And the reason why I'm being so harsh about this is because it's so important.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to let them get off even. There's no slack here. They have to do it, or else we don't have a country anymore. And so until I see it fully happening, I don't care if it's only been a month or a few months or since they started trying, they need to do more, period. There's never going to be enough until it's done.
And here's why, here's why I love the fact that you're saying this right now, like not 5 months from now. Time is not on our hands, and most people don't realize this, but presidents really only have 2 years if they have Congress and all this stuff going their way to do things. Because guess what? Next year, later on, we're going to start getting congressional campaigns. And these members of Congress are going to want to distance themselves from anything they view as controversial that the president did. We're not going to be able to do mass deportations in October 2026 with an election in a few days. Because everyone's going to be like, oh, it's kind of a bad look. You know, you got these families chained up, you know, getting flown to El Salvador. The media is going to spin it however they want.
We're killing time right now. I mean, right now we're literally stopping ourselves from getting to a place where we can have true success because it's taking too long. And this goes to the elections as well. Because if we don't get rid of machines and mail-in ballots, we have zero chance. You have between 0 and negative 5,000 chance that you're at any point going to be able to have an election in 2026. It doesn't result in another back and forth and you know, probably impeachment hearings of President Trump, just letting him get to a record.
Just to add to that point, if we're going into 2026 with the same exact problems we had in 2020 and 2024, and even before 2020, machines and mail-in voting, universal, and all this garbage, they could easily rig that election. So if we're not careful and we think, oh, you know, the battle has been won.
The battle, bro, we're basically a speed bump away from the tyranny of our nation. I mean, we're almost to the place where I'm not sure everyone understands just how significant some of the things he's doing about pulling pardons and creating chaos. We have to create chaos on our side if we want to actually disrupt what they're doing. Because right now they're taking chess pieces off the chess table and they're sitting on the sidelines. They're so close because they can actually watch what's happening. They should be running for the door. They should be running around. We should be have massive arrests, because the more arrests that you have, the more they have to then start spending and moving their resources to that. And that's what they did to us. I mean, 1,600 Americans.
Yeah.
And J6, they literally went after John Eastman, probably one of the most knowledgeable constitutional attorneys you're going to find, and disbarred him.
Jeez, I can't imagine
that. And birthright citizenship has really destroyed the country. It's the most BS thing ever. It was initially done for slaves and their kids to be able to be part of the country after that happened. And that's way different than now it's being used for illegals to just come across the border and then boom, now you have anchor in the country. It's not fair. And it shouldn't be allowed.
Vivek Ramaswamy made a really powerful point about this.
He is an anchor baby, by the way.
Huh?
Vivek is an anchor baby.
Well, his
parents were here.
They were legal. They were
kind of
yeah. But the point is, you know, the people that you become a citizen when your parents are subject to the jurisdiction you're in, right? Mm-hmm. When you're born subject to the jurisdiction you're in. If your parents are from Venezuela, they snuck into the country, they have no documents, then why should the child, you know, have any legal documentation? Why should they be citizens automatically? And, you know, citizenship is a privilege. It's not, you know, I don't even think voting is a right. I think it's a privilege. I think it comes with strings attached. You have to qualify to be a voter. You have to have an address and not just live in no man's land. So, I absolutely agree. Unfortunately, I think the Supreme Court is going to be super. I hope not.
Yeah, they're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting Amy Coney Barrett with her 50 Haitian kids That
And
she
you saw how
It's not
she
gonna happen.
looked at President Trump when she was in the same room with him.
Yeah, it was odd.
Why did he pick her again? I mean, I thought that
But
was one
to
of the
be
dumbest
fair,
things he
to
did.
be fair, I know she's just a witch, so she probably did do it intentionally. But I have faces all the time. Like when I look at you, I'm not in love with you, but you could interpret my face as like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah.
So, but I don't like love you like
I mean,
a husband.
May 17th, you might be like, man, that's Joe.
Nah,
that guy.
That's not gonna happen.
I'll give you 2 months to get ready.
But yeah, sometimes you just have a face. Like, I saw this picture of Marco Rubio, and the media was like, Rubio hated how Trump was talking to Zelensky. Rubio. But it's like, he just had a face. Everyone has faces. So I don't really read too much into that.
He had RBF. He had resting bitch face.
Oh, that's what
for sure.
Because I was like,
for sure he had resting bitch face. Rubio was like this the entire time. It didn't even change.
Well, Joe, are we ever going to touch on what could be one of the biggest threats to this administration, which is war with Iran? And now the president said, any attacks or responses by the Houthis in Yemen will be treated as, an attack from Iran, which means the United States will respond to Iran.
Yeah,
I think, and when I was younger, I mean, believe it or not, as I'm still a young, sexy chocolate Superman, obviously, and everything. But when I was like much younger, and I was impressed by sensationalism. If I would hear someone like Lindsey Graham talk, and I'd be like, yeah, bomb them, But now I just get a little older, and taxes increase, and all this stuff. Now I'm thinking, why are we fighting everything just to protect the world's shipping lanes when we're not benefiting from most of the trade?
Yeah, to protect the pockets of the donors. If we're being honest, that's Iran. All the wars that are happening right now are almost exclusively to line the pockets of the donors. If you look at Lockheed Martin, you look at these big companies, they're getting these huge contracts. Profit margins are insane on a lot of this stuff. And not only are the profit margins insane, but they're being used on wars that are created on purpose and that are unnecessary in order to then profit more. $800 billion. We don't need that much money to have the best military in the world. We could do it with half of that.
Matt, Thomas Massey said something that kind of scared me. He said every year the military-industrial complex requires $50 billion from Congress, in various contracts for bombs and all this garbage. And look, we have a defense budget which Congress appropriates, and the Department of Defense spends that. They pay people, they do all this stuff, they buy weapons. But the military-industrial complex requires an extra $50 billion just for whatever war effort they want. That's why the defense budget never decreases. It only goes up for whatever reason, even though technically you'd argue we're safer now than ever. The world, there's a war in Ukraine, but that really doesn't have anything to do with us. It has more to do with NATO and their incursions and the European countries. So we are constantly spending money. And Massey said, Ukraine's over. That $50 billion's done. The new one is Iran. So we're going to be spending $50 billion fighting Iran. And I hope the president's legacy is not tainted by any involvement in the Middle East or any other part of the world with another endless war that no one can actually define what the objective ever was for that war. So I really pray that's not where we're headed, and we're not going to be bombing Iran and doing all this crazy stuff. But it might just be part of the game, because if we get into a war, the economy doesn't win. The reason inflation got so bad was because there was a war going on. And, Ukraine couldn't export products, and Russia had all these sanctions. They couldn't fill the market with their supplies. So the cost of everything went up. If we're fighting Iran, we don't really trade with Iran, but we do trade in that region. That's just going to be another war with more consequences. And who's to say if we attack Iran, they don't attack one of the countries we fly a bomb out of? Like if we have bases in the UAE, do we?
Yeah, we do.
If we send a rocket from the UAE and it hits Iran, wouldn't Iran technically be like, hey, the UAE was used to attack us, why don't we attack the UAE?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of consequence with just war in general.
Well, and look, we've been in countless wars.
Yeah.
And I'm going to drop some knowledge on you. Okay. You ready for this?
Mm.
All right. one of the reasons why we're in the position we're in now is actually 25 to 30 years old. We can go back and we can look at what happened with Iraq in the early 1990s. Now, Madeleine Albright got on TV and said it was worth it that 500,000 Iraqi women and children died. That was in 1996. That was long before 2001, before anything happened to the World Trade Center at all. Now, fast forward to 2002, we went in and millions of Iraqis died. Now, what? And we pulled out Saddam Hussein. Great, you pulled out Saddam Hussein, and you could say that they were having it tough in Iraq. It was tough in Iraq, and it was bad. But what we did is left it worse. Now we can't blame the U.S. government for it, but we can blame the players that have been around for the last 25, 30 years. We have as a country, and everyone needs to recognize this. This is really, really important. We have made entire generations of terrorists. We have killed off generations of people overseas. People like Susan Rice have gone to the UN and dismantled countries with a touch of a pin by lying about genocide and ethnic cleansing that happened in Sudan, that led to the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, the East Darfurian Peace Agreement, the East Peace Agreement, and the Darfurian Peace Agreement. These are the DPA, CPA, and the EPA, all in Sudan, that led to a referendum vote that split a country in half along an oil-rich area called the Abyei District. That country's never recovered. The economic system inside of that has been absolutely turned into a desert. Everything has degraded to zero. When you have John Bolton's, when you have people like Susan Rice, when you have someone like Samantha Power, who was the head of a USAID down in Guatemala, who, by the way, the Attorney General down there investigated Save the Children, a US-based NGO, and Samantha Power down there was then promoted to USAID director globally.
Wow.
That then issued sanctions against the Attorney General in Guatemala, and stood up what can only be described as a trafficking ring by the hundreds of thousands in indigenous areas of Guatemala. That all happens with these people that are a part of a cabal that have very little regard for human life. And so we're reaping the rewards of what happened in Iran. But if you go back in history to the 70s in Iran, it was a very liberal environment. People did not wear, you didn't have the sheikhs that are involved in there now. We placed them there. We created this bastion of evil across the Middle East. And then what we did after that is we doubled down in different areas. We went into Syria. What happened when we went into Syria? We're like, oh, we have to get rid of Bashir. Yeah. What happened?
Now
they're killing Christians like by the bucket. By the truckloads every day.
In Ukraine too, that's happening.
In Ukraine, you have the Azov battalion. We're in a war, a proxy war with Russia, and the Azov battalion is a Nazi regime that represents over 25% of the armed forces in Ukraine, and they're actual Nazis. But we explain it away by saying, well, they're not actually killing Jews, so we don't care. It's nuts that our foreign policy and our domestic policy is run by people who are they're sociopaths, they're psychopaths.
Yeah.
And we've stood them up for so long that what we're dealing with now is that it's all coming back to roost. These people have planned their revenge against America for decades. And the amount of anger that they have towards us, and rightfully so. We haven't even started talking about Africa. Right? We haven't started talking about what's happened in North Africa. We're talking about in East Africa or West Africa, Ghana, and the genocide that I can't even. Or how about Nigeria, the Niger Delta, that Shell company went in there and created their own private war. Like we have no idea. People have no idea what we have done as a country. While we are here being very giving people, we give to other nations all over the world. We love people as a matter of who we are. It's our ethos.
Well, but it seems like since World War II, this neocon.
Yeah. Yes.
These neocons hijack foreign policy, and now they govern everything. People wonder what's the right foreign policy position. I think we go back to what Thomas Jefferson and George Washington believed in, which is some level of just mind your own business, right? You don't need to go, fight other countries' wars and get in these endless conflicts that take a lot of lives. Matt, what do you think about what's going on right now with our foreign policy? And just stipulating, what do you think President Trump is doing different, and what he's doing that's reminiscent of what's been going on?
Well, step one is we need to have more Christians in leadership positions. That without that, nothing else will fall into place. Christians are not going to start wars unnecessarily. Atheists will. There's lots of people that just don't care about human life in positions of power in the government, that don't believe in God, that have gone so far from God to the point that if they see a father, let's say Ukrainian, Russian, whatever, a father who was forced to be there by their government, getting shot in the face and dying, they don't care. They don't feel any empathy. I see that, and it breaks my heart. I don't care what side they're on. I don't care what their government thinks. These are human beings who I can empathize with, who we can all empathize with, that are in these brutal, awful situations where they're put in basically killing fields, and most of them don't survive. You have almost no survival rate going out in the trenches in those wars, and this is being done on purpose. And it's being done for governments that aren't loyal to the people anyway. And they're taking them in vans and dragging them and forcing them to go fight. And these aren't people who are willingly there. And it just sucks. I haven't seen a sadder position than the ones that people take where they just want these endless wars. It sucks.
Yeah. And one thing that Trump is saying and planning for that gives me a lot of hope that we're going to see less deaths in the next 100 years compared to the last is he's advocating for denuclearization. He said as soon as the Russia-Ukraine war ends, he's going to try and get China and Russia together to talk about denuclearizing the world. I think the concept of nuclear weapons has added, it was supposed to be like this big deterrent that prevented countries from fighting each other, but it turns out countries just fought each other more and in less humane ways, right? You think about that, like, is there actually a real humane way to fight? Yeah, there is, at least be upfront about it, but now we just do regime changes and we do like really sick things. So I think,
and we don't tell the truth.
Yeah, we never do.
Like, I mean, the United States. Like, I'm not anti-American. I'm pro-American. I mean, in the 6 years that I spent in the Middle East and Africa, I saw so many things that they did wrong. Somalia, what happened with the pirates? You talk about Ethiopia and Eritrea.
With Somalia, these pirates, were they protecting their waters from?
No, not at all. There was people that came into Somalia, and there was resources in Somalia. And then when they were done taking what they wanted, they just left a vacuum. And so there was a massive amount of degradation that happened in their society. Same thing happened in Sudan. You look at what is happening in South Sudan right now. It's unbelievable. They said it was a Christian nation. There wasn't Christians in South Sudan. It's not true. You had Coptic Christians, but you had Coptic Christians in the north as well. But it completely destroyed we call it the healthcare system or the wealth system, the welfare system. They destroyed the education system, and they did the same thing in nearly every nation that we've touched, every nation, including Somalia. And so they were able to resolve the pirate issue in Somalia, but they were just trying to basically find a way to do something, make something, and that's how that all started. They just they didn't have anything. I mean, it's the same thing going in the inner city in the U.S. I mean, the inner city environment in the U.S. is a desert. It's an opportunity desert. It's an actual food desert, and it's an education desert. It's unbelievable, and it's all run by Democrats who want people to be just hungry enough so they can use them as pawns in this institutionalized slavery of the school to prison pipeline that they have built so successfully over the last 5 decades. I mean, you can fix all of these problems overseas, all the stuff we have, if we can just settle down and change the ethos, get rid of massive numbers of people that we have in our government. Like, if you cut the government by 50%, you will solve a lot of problems.
But not only that, I don't know.
Maybe more than 50, like 70. Can we do 75?
But even 50%. Look,
maybe 90.
There's one government employee for every 10 people in this country, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying federal employee, but federal, state, local. There's one employee that's government for every 10 people. That's absurd.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And Joe, I think I've been thinking about this, but one of the catalysts for all these wars was whenever the United States decided to become a service economy and export its trade to other countries, its production and its industries to other countries, in the name of, if we trade with them, they won't bomb us, they won't fight us, right? So I think if you brought everything here and people here had a real genuine stake in what we do with our money,
right?
Because right now no one really cares where we spend money,
right?
Even with the U.S. aid thing, no one cares that we're pouring hundreds of billions into CIA projects, and then they'll say like, "Oh, teaching monkeys about gay stuff." No, that's not why we spent the money. I mean, that's what it says on paper, but that was like the CIA's
laundering money.
You don't support the gay monkey program.
So
I thought that was. we need. I feel like we need the research on that. It's going to be valuable.
But that's good content for Alex Jones. They're turning the monkeys gay. So I think if you brought trade here and people had a genuine physical stake in the way this country was moving, they would be a lot less tolerant to us, getting on this world domination, world building crap that we've been doing.
What's interesting is as our country starts to look more like the rest of the world, as everyone comes here, we're starting to have more corruption, like a lot of those countries where the people are coming from. I mean, that's ultimately, you can argue back and forth about tax rates, this, that, USAID, whatever you want. At the end of the day, the only thing that will be a guiding light is it's all fixable if we remain the same country that we were in the past, because we're capable of solving anything. But if we become a country that's constituted of the same people that created the bad countries, not only...
No, we need H-1Bs. Yeah. We need Vivek's people. We need
we need some. Yeah,
McDonald's needs H-1B chefs.
Exactly.
No American can actually cook McDonald's right. Right.
I'm going to tell you right now.
H-1B AI is coming next.
And Behizy is from Cameroon.
Yeah.
So I mean, he knows both sides. He's seen both sides culturally of what happens in a country in Africa and what happens in the United States. And he chose to assimilate to this country. He chose to take a path of understanding the culture and the history of this country. But that's not the case for some people that come here from other countries. They come here with different regard or disregard for the rules and the laws of our land. And so they bring that tainted environment to us. But a lot of it has to do with the history of what the United States have done to other people in other places. And vengeance and revenge is best served cold. That there's a reason why they say it. And I have met people. I have met with imams, right? I have met with sheikhs. I've met with people in this country that Muslims who have an absolute hatred for Americans. I've sat down and had broke bread with them, and without apologizing for being an American, about apologizing for it, I just want to hear them out. And so I don't think that people understand where we are in our society and how we got here, because we've been so fat and happy for so long, and now it's coming back to roost. Like we don't own our houses, we don't own our cars, we're in a state of institutional slavery. It happened very quickly, but it was like this boiling of the frog. And I'm not complaining about paying taxes because it's biblical. Give up to Caesar what is Caesar's. But now you don't own anything. The government owns everything around you, and you're supposed to be happy with it. And I think the dangers that I see right now is that if we don't start addressing why do these other countries have such disregard and hate for us, that they're willing to blow up buildings, they're willing to blow up cars or plant bombs, hurt innocent people. I mean, they have children. How can they have so much hate in their heart for us? And it all comes down to the fact that the mechanism, the very root of our institution, of our country, is rotted to the core. They saw it long before we did.
You know what's funny, Joe?
Yeah.
There were people in Nigeria and all these countries around the world, Japan is another one, celebrating Trump's comeback. They were celebrating the fact that the United States has a different president, because for the first time in forever, a U.S. president didn't have a plan for them. He didn't have a plan for any other country. Yeah, he didn't have any interest in their country. And now they're like, yes, that's amazing. We won't have the CIA here overturning our elections. So it's actually, and most people don't realize just how much goes on in the world.
They have no idea. And I've sat and cried with a man who lost his brother, his sister in Lebanon in 2007.
Wow.
Right? He was in Beirut. And 4 generations of his family were killed. Right? And
That's sad.
and it, you can't even imagine losing your child, like losing your children, losing your brothers and sisters, losing your mother and father. I mean, that's just imagine what that feels like. And we haven't, and every time we sit and we talk about these things from a position of, hey, send them back to Venezuela. We've created Venezuelan problems. Like we created that. We allowed them to steal elections and we sanctioned it. And we have an entire apparatus in this country that I think President Trump is going to get to. If he gets rid of the machines and mail-in ballots, I'm going to come back to it. If he gets rid of the machines and mail-in ballots, we will be fine because at least the voice will have a chance of being heard because you'll take enough chess pieces off the table that you'll have transparency.
Right. And I love helping people. We want to help the world. We want to lift everyone up.
Yeah.
You're going to retweet me now?
Of course.
We can keep
At
that 2 million.
the end of the day, the only way we can help other people is if we're strong as a country ourselves. And if we have a moral guide that puts God first. If we have that in our country, we can give to other countries and still be prosperous. We can lift up everyone else through innovation. And that's the main thing. When we create cool products, when we make medical breakthroughs and we can share that with the world, even at a low cost in many cases, that changes lives.
Yeah.
And we don't, but if everyone from Venezuela comes here, I don't think we're going to be capable of doing that anymore because our systems are going to be too corrupt, just like they are there. I mean, people make the system. And so we have to be careful not to allow our country to become constituted fully or too many people from other countries, or else it won't have the same spirit and we won't be able to help the world like we always have, really.
Yeah.
Man, I love Matt.
He's awesome. It's awesome.
You're just saying that for the retweet.
I need those retweets though.
I appreciate it.
Egg prices. Huh?
So we've been on here for a long time. So and I got to get on an airplane, and I know that one of you has to go to the bathroom. It's probably George.
Yeah, I was going to say someone farted. Yeah,
No, that ain't me. That ain't me.
Did that leak up his leg or something?
No.
Oh, there you go.
Joe's projecting.
Yeah, no.
Joe's
Nick
projecting.
Fuentes.
Joe's
every
projecting.
time.
I'm a young man.
The article tomorrow, Nick Fuentes
I can
farts.
control myself, man. I know Joe. Joe's trying to say something.
Yeah, see. He was like,
"Where's Jake at?" Maybe he did it, and then he just disappeared.
Why is no one blaming me? Am I not fart worthy?
You brought it up.
it's not fart worthy. Yeah, it could have been you. Was it you?
I'm not good enough.
Was it you?
It could have been.
Like insecure about not being blamed.
Why would they blame me? I can't imagine why they wouldn't blame me.
Just wondering, I was the only one who didn't get blamed.
Oh man.
Well, so I want to put out this just because everyone keeps saying this. Egg prices are now way down. So they've gotten, and if you know how commodities work, sugar, flour, I mean, everything runs through a commodities market based on what are called TRQs, right? So that's the place by which they actually regulate how much of a product actually hits the market. And so you have foreign TRQs where they'll allow certain amounts to come in from, say, Canada sugar in Sudan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they bring that sugar in. There's a certain amount they can ship in. They have plenty of supply. Same thing can be said for how they've gotten to the bottom of the egg prices and what happened there as well. So gas prices are down, egg prices are down, inflation has slowed, and prices are at a high level, have been for the last nearly 3 years. And but Secretary Scott Bessent proposes that we do 3 things. I'm going to add a 4th before we play this, and then I'll give you guys a couple minutes to roll us out. We have to get interest rates down. The interest rates at the height that they are literally choking off the American people's ability to save money, because property taxes, by the way, have to go away. And there's so much stuff that has to happen. But if we're starving off the next generation. Opportunity is becoming a desert everywhere. The red, yellow, and green that happens from inner cities is always red from opportunities. Then you have yellow and green. When it comes to even education, it's growing. Like we're seeing, kids die of fentanyl overdose in suburbia. We're seeing people exit high school at an all-time high in affluent neighborhoods and areas. We're seeing the education standards evolve to a place where less and less Kids are graduating proficient in anything. And so we have to get the interest rates under control because there is a symptom and there's a problem. The symptoms, if we always just serve as the symptoms, we'll never get to the problem, just like we have on our foreign policy. But let's go ahead and play this. This is what Scott Bessent says, and then I'll let you guys close us out. Last one. 9. C9.
Man, you were going to keep us here for 10 hours, man. Look at all these clips you had up.
Now that inflation has slowed, prices are still at a high absolute level. And there are three ways to cure that. One, through real wage growth, which we're going to do through bringing back manufacturers and high-paying jobs. Two, through getting prices down. And then three, through tax cuts for working class Americans, because if you think about it, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, perhaps deductibility for auto loans. That's all for the bottom 50% of wage earners who've gotten killed. They got killed in Joe Biden's America. Mm-hmm. So President Trump believes that he won on the affordability crisis and in immigration. He's going to solve both of them, but this is all addressing the affordability crisis and giving economic relief and economic security to working Americans.
I'd say that's a little bit of a disappointing answer because he never
disappointing.
He never once mentioned that he grew up in a single family middle class household or a poor family with a single mom. So, in the last 4 years, that's all we got from people in these positions. That wasn't actually a disappointing answer at all. It was a perfect answer. But like you said, interest rates are, but that's
they're a real problem.
That's like a consequence of like solving the other things too. It all falls in line, but
it's a weird market. I mean, I can tell it's a weird market. People are experiencing a weird market. We have people that are not spending money in certain areas, are spending them in other areas. People are losing their jobs. Contracts have shift. Like what in Doge is going to take away opportunities from certain, government and or contracting work. It shows you the weakness of our economy. Frankly,
it was like a fake thing that got propped up.
Yeah.
To 36 trillion or whatever that GDP is.
And
20 trillion. It was never 20 trillion.
So mathematically, if we don't get rid of those things like privatized pensions or public pensions, we gotta get rid of that. Like you should have parity between the public sector and the private sector, and we don't have it right now. I mean, the government employees are getting fat and happy, and they have all sorts of ways that they can double and triple their pensions, which is a couple extra years.
If we have a president who is like the CEO of the executive branch, and we change that or can change that every 4 years. Why do we have civil employees who work in the executive branch who can be there for as long as they want?
Right.
It should be a thing where every 4 years, just like a president, or every certain set term, they get a review of their performance. And they get fired if they don't perform.
I agree with that fully. I do want to make this announcement. This just came in. And
you're going to go to the gym?
Apollo, Hunter Biden, President Trump put this out.
Joe has Ebola.
I actually getting tested for a bunch of stuff.
Ebola?
No.
Okay. Hope you don't have Ebola. I don't want to get it.
Yeah, so it's the last one I put up, Apollo. Then I'll put this up really quick. TV. This is pretty awesome. Hunter Biden has had Secret Service protection for an extended period of time, all paid for by the United States taxpayer. There are as many as 18 people on this detail, which is ridiculous. He is currently vacationing in, of all places, South Africa, where the human rights of people has been strenuously questioned. Because of this, South Africa has been taken off our list of countries receiving economic and financial assistance. Please be advised that, effective immediately, Hunter Biden will no longer receive Secret Service protection. Likewise, Ashley Biden, who has 13 agents, will be taken off the list.
18 people?
Why do we have...
What?
Why are we giving lifelong Secret Service details to the kids, the grown kids of former presidents? I understand, like, if you have a 5-year-old, yeah, maybe, but Hunter's like a grown man with his own money. If you need to be protected so badly, just pull up to DCF Guns and buy you an arm, Yeah, I just advertise one of yours.
Why do you even need 18 agents?
Yeah.
That's a little ridiculous.
Someone's got to be at the door, like, watching while he snorts cocaine.
Like one for each of his prostitutes, I'm guessing. That would work. Also, one thing I wanted to mention. So if I didn't know this when I was young, and I want to, every time I get an opportunity, say it because I wish I had known. But when you buy a house on a loan, those first payments are going 90% to interest. So if you sell in 5 years, you're basically just renting. First of all, second of all,
that's actually a very powerful point.
Make sure you know that if you're looking at buying property or house, and
then when you're done paying it off, you pay property tax every year, and if you don't pay that, they'll come sell it and then keep your home, take your home.
It's a scam, and on top of that, if you do buy at this interest rate that we're currently at now, depending on your credit score, it can change a little bit, but you're going to be looking at more than 100% of the value of the house over that 30-year term. Meaning, if you bought the house in cash somehow, which is difficult, obviously, but if you did, at the end of that 30 years, you would have double the amount of money, and you could still take out, if you needed the money, you could take out a mortgage on it.
That's
it's important to keep in mind.
That's the usury scam we live under.
It should be banned.
You can complain about a lot of things. I just want to complain about the things that give back to people the ability to have freedom. In other words, if you do pay off your house, you should be able to live in a homestead. You should be able to live in your home and know that you don't have to pay property taxes on a home. You should never pay property tax on your home.
Why are you
ever.
leasing your land from the federal government?
That means you don't own a home.
Yeah.
You don't own a car because you have to pay plates and everything else, tax. Everything the government owns. They own everything.
And it would incentivize homeschooling too, because a lot of the funding from the state taxes goes to the schooling. I thought about the ways you could maybe structure that. And it would be, would you make people who do public schools each pay the proportionate amount? That
I
may
think
be
if
difficult.
you had
so there's like a
people
couple,
who do
you'd have to figure it out.
If someone does homeschooling, they're just exempt from property taxes.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
And well, I think everyone should be exempt from property taxes in general. But if you want to get there, you just start making like small exceptions here and there. And that's what Trump's smart at. He's, no taxes on tips. Okay, but then at some point, everyone's going to be like, whoa, how about no taxes in general on income?
And I trust parents way more to teach their own kids than I do. I want to homeschool, but I trust parents more than teachers for sure to teach their own kids values. That's the most important thing. More so than learning history or anything else. Values come first, and the other stuff you can learn after that. Yeah, that's a great idea. If you can structure it so that if you, at the very least, the percentage of your property tax that would have gone towards the school system, that should be exempt if you choose to homeschool.
Yeah.
That's an easy give me there, right there.
Man, small little wins.
All right, so how do people follow you guys?
Well, I think stalking in general is wrong, so please don't follow me. But if you want to follow me digitally, stalk me digitally, then at Behizy Tweets on X. That's where I, make tweets and hope that one day Elon Musk will reply and give me impressions. So
he has replied to you.
Yeah, but I gotta hope for that every day.
More.
It doesn't happen every day, but it happens. And then you can find Matt Wallace. Actually, all of you already follow him. He has 2.2. So, Matt Wallace is that your?
Yeah, if you search Matt Wallace, it'll come up.
You don't even actually have to search the last. Just search Matt. He'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be the first Matt. He'll be the only Matt that's
But yeah,
important.
you need to do. All you need to do is do.
My dad's name is Matt. Why would you say?
My son's name is Matt.
A lot of Matts.
That's your son right there.
My son.
Yeah, all you need to do is just post more. What do you notice? Content. Just find.
Hey,
it,
Matt.
say, what do you notice? And then you're good to go.
Come here.
Yeah, you always do this tweet, and we'll talk about it offline. But you'll find like the whitest white girls, and you'd be like, "This is the average American girl." What do you notice?
He got me with Taylor Swift deal.
I was like, man,
what did you see?
People
in
get
this
so
video?
mad because like look, some of my posts I put a lot of effort into, and sometimes they'll go viral, sometimes they won't. But people get so mad when I just post like the dumbest thing, and it gets 20 million views for no reason. It's just awesome, and then everyone's like, "Wait, why did he get 20 million views on that? He didn't even try."
Yeah, he had a tweet that just said "the." It wasn't that. It was literally like that.
Finish it off. The Who.
The Who. Yeah, no, that doesn't work anymore. By the way, Elon changed the algorithm, but yeah, you used to be able to just say, "What do you notice about the average American?" and they just troll people and pick like some model or something and say, "What do you notice about the average American?" It's pretty funny.
Yeah, because
it's awesome.
What do you notice about the average American man? I'm thinking in my head like Joe Oltmann.
Joe Oltmann's average American man.
He's body wise. Well, actually,
May 17th, guys. Mark it.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna try and get like a real 6-pack.
Me too.
And
I'm gonna get a 6-pack of soda for you to drink.
I don't think by May 17th you'll be on my level, because right now you're at a deficit.
Bro,
you're
how
like
old are
you?
You're not
like
even.
our budget.
Are you even old enough? Are you even old enough to drink?
You're like our federal budget. You're coming in at a deficit.
Wait, hold on a second. We got a little.
Man. There's no
punchers.
You're not
punchers
feeling
there.
You're not feeling no egg rolls under here. You're feeling like
I got
strength. You know, when I look in the mirror, Joe, with my shirt off, I could see like, if I ate just like less Chick-fil-A,
less Chick-fil-A, less everything.
If I ate less Chick-fil-A, we're gonna be there. But my arms, of course, just check it out.
I don't even see any arms.
Poke it.
That's why you wear that big sweatshirt.
Look, come on, man. Don't do me like this, man. Don't make me get naked here. Look at this. Look at the chest. Look how I'm popping out, man. Look at the chest. Look how I'm moving. Come on, baby.
Look at his heart's beating.
Yeah. Yeah, baby. Come on. See what
Nick Fuentes. He got Whitey.
That's so funny.
I was looking at him. He's like, oh man.
I'm here with children. But look at the chest moving, baby.
The third nipple is moving too in the middle.
Yeah, of course. Look, I can only do one side. I can do one side, then the other side.
You gotta flex the muscle like this.
Nah, look, there's no need for all that. I don't want to look. I don't want to have the grandmas in here divorcing their husbands.
Oh my gosh!
And trying to get with Chocolate Superman. But look, it was a good show. I appreciate you, Joe, for having me on. Lord Jesus, we thank you so much for bringing us all together and giving us the words to speak. Thank you for these fun individuals and their drive and their fight for freedom. Lord, keep strengthening us and giving us that drive that we need every single day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I'm glad you actually finished it off like that.
After roasting you and...
Yeah, roast. Dude, I'm good. I'm totally good. I mean, I'm good.
You sure?
I'm a little.
I'm seeing anger just like
no, I'm not
creeping in.
Yeah, so that there is a post that was put up with Elon Musk, and it had a warrior that reached down and pet a kitty, right? Pet a cat, a kitten.
Pet it. I didn't see.
Pet a kitten. So warriors get to choose peace, right? It's a choice. People that are not warriors, cowards, they have to. They're peaceful because they have to be, because they're cowards. But warriors that are capable of great violence, they have to choose peace. So I choose peace.
Oh, that was all about you? Yeah. I was like, you're saying a lot about me right now.
Yeah, I just wanted you to know that I'm choosing peace with you right now. I'm choosing it. Like it's a choice.
Sounds like a threat.
Apollo knows what I'm talking about too.
Your body, my choice.
Your body, my choice. All right. Hey, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for sticking with us. Remember, hit the share button. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. Just a big shout out to BEK Network. We'll see you there. If you're on a radio station, send me a click and just tell me how they cut it up. I still haven't figured out how they cut it up a 4-hour show and into the 1 or 2 hours. I keep getting called and like, Joe, you're on at 7 in this place in St. Louis. I'm like, okay. So I'm not really sure how it works. We kind of go long form every day. So otherwise, just follow us at Untamed. Is it Untamed Nation? What is it, Apollo? At Joe Untamed. I don't know why it says Joe Untamed. Maybe we'll just make it at Untamed Nation. We should probably change that. And then you can follow me at Joe Oltmann X. I am back on X. You can follow me on at Joe Oltmann at Truth Social too. I like to stay on President Trump and support his network. So,
and for me, just type in the M and I'll come up.
Just put in an M.
Just
and
put the
M.
Yeah, just put in a T for me, thief, and I'll come up.
But Matt actually also has a YouTube channel too, and he does really good work. And I mean, really, just very thoughtful in how he presents himself. Behizy doesn't do much, but sit around and just do expos. So
Yeah.
And he still can't hold a candle to Matt. So it's kind
And
of
find ways to tax evade. Tax season's right now, and man, I'm sweating. It's like the government just wants me, Joe. They want every piece of money out.
Did you get a Cybertruck yet?
We're in the process. Why would you announce that? I wanted to.
Sorry, I didn't know he was doing it. I just know he was looking at it. He's like, call me.
We're in the process.
Yeah, with all the privacy is at an all-time valuableness level with all the stuff they're doing with the raids on people's houses and the swatting and stuff. It's scary.
I'm thinking if they pull up to my house and try to do that, I'm gonna call Joe and say, Joe, bring some guns.
I'll bring them both. I'll bring the ones on my arms, and I'll bring the ones right here.
That's how I know I'm screwed. If he brings his arm guns.
Come on, baby, let's go. So we're gonna go throw around a little bit.
Tired after just walking up to my door, and it's just. All right. Have a good night, everyone.
See you later.